Hey there, folks. My name is Misadventure, and welcome to the first episode of my Timbuktu campaign. This is going to be a complete playthrough of the 2019 grand strategy game Imperator Rome, with a number of mods. First and foremost, the classical Rework mod with a few changes that I made to it that I'll talk about more in just a moment. Also featuring the No Minimum Levy Size mod, the Simply More Families mod, the Great Wonders Refined mod, the Gray Neutral Units mod, the Skybox mod, and the Music Player Plus mod. All the mod information can be found in the description below, along with some logistical information about the series. Now, in terms of the classical Rework mod, this is one I've been really excited to make a series with for a long time. I think this is a really underappreciated and overlooked part of the Imperator Rome overhaul mod scene, and does some really interesting stuff that I haven't really seen other large-scale overhaul mods really try to do with the Imperator Rome setting and world. Now, on top of a timeline change, this mod adds in some territory. As you can see, the entire northern half of the African continent is here, and it's amazing. This is an enormous amount of territory, similar in size to the entirety of Imperator Rome's version of Europe, with just as much detail and complexity as you can see in other parts of the vanilla map. On top of sub-Saharan Africa and the areas of East Africa that were not part of the vanilla game, there is also, in this mod, Southeast Asia, at least large parts of it included over here. And on top of all that, the actual vanilla parts of the map are quite different, because this mod takes place in 600 BCE. This is 300 years before the vanilla game begins, and about 170 years before my mod hegemony begins. So quite a ways back basically at the beginning of the classical age of the Mediterranean world. So things that you expect to see in a classical age setting, such as the Persian Empire, have yet to be formed. Persia is just beginning its rise to power. The Chaldean Empire, Media, Lydia, Egypt, all of these great powers are still lingering on. Over in the western part of the Mediterranean, we have the Roman monarchy still in effect, and the small but rising Carthaginian Republic beginning to seize control over North Africa, but it's not quite there yet. So lots of things are different in the vanilla parts of the map, let alone the new parts. And speaking of the new parts, we're going to be playing down here in sub-Saharan Africa for this campaign as the nation of Timbuktu, as you can see right there. Now, I need to talk about Timbuktu's starting situation for quite a while, because there is a lot to talk about. First of all, Timbuktu's difficulty is marked as hard, which I completely agree with. This is going to be one of the most technically complicated campaigns I've ever played for the channel, and this is going to test my Imperator Rome game knowledge and mechanical creativity to their limits, given the unusual situation Timbuktu finds itself in when the game begins, as well as the way I'm going to be setting up this campaign in just a moment. So, first of all, Timbuktu would become one of the great cities of the ancient world, benefiting greatly from gold mining to the south, trade to the north, and as a great center of learning to rival Alexandria. We are a couple thousand years too early for the historical rise of Timbuktu as an African power, but better early than late. That saying's one that I just made up. The point of it is that we're going to be changing history as much as making it. That's a much better turn of phrase than whatever I just said the first time. But anyways, as Timbuktu, not only are we in sub-Saharan Africa, not only are we going to be dealing with all the new mechanics and dynamics going on there, but we're also going to be playing as an aristocratic republic. Yes, this is a republic-style nation, as the thumbnail of this video may have sort of hinted at. We're going to be dealing with not just a republic, but a republic with the two rulers. In our case, we're using the terminology Archon and Co-Archon, but it's very similar to Consul and Co-Consul from the most famous aristocratic republic of Imperator Rome, which is the Vanilla Romans, who are also an aristocratic republic. Now, before we talk about the republic mechanics, let's talk for a second about Timbuktu's starting situation more generally. We start as local power, with 5 territories. We're at the lower end of local power. We can join defensive leagues, and we can have alliances until we get above 24 territories. Once we get to 25 and up, we become a regional power, and some of our mechanics will change. The modifiers will also change, and we start off with minus 10% build cost, plus 4% integrated culture happiness, plus 0.10 integration speed, plus 5% monthly wages for characters, 1 diplomatic relation by default, minus 10% mercenary army maintenance, plus 10% diplomatic range, and 1 mercenary army by default. Now, we also have the unique heritage of Timbuktu. An ancient city, Timbuktu has long been one of the most significant settlements in sub-Saharan Africa. Now, the first two modifiers are fairly unintrusive and kind of more unimpactful. One capital import route is fine. It's better early on, but it's not really a game changer, especially because we're not going to have access to that much trade anyways. So it's okay, but not amazing. Fort defense, minus 10%. Not that bad, honestly. Unless we're in a very close siege race situation, this won't really make or break the campaign. 10% export value, though, is really good, and is something that's going to become better later in the campaign as well. So, pretty good modifiers, especially to help us with becoming a commercial power the way that real-life Timbuktu managed to do thousands of years in the future. Now, on to the fun part, Aristocratic Republic. We have a co-ruler, as I noted earlier. We have 5-year ruler reigns and an election every 5 years. Now, classical rework normally begins on June 1st, 600 BCE. I've actually modded the mod to change its start date to January 1st of 604 BCE because the game actually displays the ABC number, which is now going to be a nice round January 1st, 150 as the start date. This means our elections are January 1st every 5 years from 150, as are our omen cycles. So this is just a lot easier for me to remember, as it was previously starting with a display date of 154 ABC. Awkward to work around, so I prefer to just make this kind of change. It doesn't seem to affect anything else in the game that substantially in terms of like throwing off events or whatnot. I don't think that's a problem. So having noted that, we need to have a character be 35 to be elected as Archon, and they can be re-elected after 10 years. And in terms of our ideas, we have 2 military and 1 oratory idea slots. Actually, exactly what we need for my opening strategy. This early game, as Timbuktu, is going to be a scrappy fight for survival. I am a very experienced Imperator Rome player, and I am afraid of what is coming. This is not going to be an easy campaign in the early parts. It will hopefully get easier and more relaxing later on, but I'm going to be fighting for my life in the early game, given what we're going to be dealing with both as a republic and as being in the very difficult sub-Saharan African environment to rise to power, and with some other things I'll talk about in a moment about the way that I'm setting up this campaign. So prepare yourself for a just brutal experience, which I'll be playing and you'll be watching, so hopefully it's entertaining, and I hope to display the full scope of my Imperator Rome knowledge and mastery as we go. Now, if we match up these 3 idea slots, we get 5 character loyalty and 8% Freeman happiness, both pretty good modifiers, and we have 20% Civ level by default. Whilst outwardly democratic, an aristocratic republic limits leadership to those who enjoy high status. We also start with the Badaic religion. 5% state religion happiness is the bonus for this, which I consider fine, not amazing, but honestly an okay benefit to get. Adherents of this native Sononike faith worship the serpent deity Bida, a capricious entity who demands regular sacrifices, but rewards followers with blessings and bountiful harvests. Very interesting. We also have the unfortunately named Bozo culture, so hopefully the only thing that is that has Bozo energy in this campaign is my culture and not me and my playstyle, but perhaps I will embrace the Bozo behavior in order to see Timbuktu rise to power a little ahead of schedule. We'll see exactly how that goes. Either way, as the Bozos, we get 40% light infantry, 30% light cav, so a pretty solid set of main unit varieties for our levies, as well as 10% heavy cav and 20% heavy infantry. So nothing too complicated, but I'm happy with something like this that's fairly easy to understand and plan around in terms of what kind of buffs we want to go for different kinds of units. Now, our starting Archon is Salma Tielabele with 9281. Not great for the governor of our home region to have 2 finesse, but as a republic, I'm going to have to just live with kind of bad rulers a lot of the time. I can do what I can to try to guide my republic into electing winners, but I can't pull this off consistently. It's just not very feasible given how expensive it is to min-max elections on top of everything else you have to do. And as a republic, I'm just going to have to hope for the best in terms of dealing with what kind of characters I get as my main Archon. Now, Salma is in the Oligarchs faction, which is actually extremely important for my opening strategy. This is really good that this rolled like this. And with these stats, I'm also pretty happy. He has it where it counts in terms of martial for my opening 5-year plan. Extremely important to have a good martial Archon for this, so happy with this result. Now, his co-archon and I guess relative, Jaruru Chielabele, is bringing in 4117. As the co-archon, his 7 zeal will override the 1 zeal for the national effect from the attributes, so that's totally fine, but otherwise not a particularly impressive character. At least I got this guy as the main archon for martial purposes, so I'm happy with that. And also, Jaruru is in the Democrats faction, so a bit of an awkward duo here. I don't know how this happened, but maybe because they're related, they decided to do it together, even though they are politically enemies. Now, in terms of our starting stats, we've got the 5 territories, as noted earlier. We've got 39 population, including 34 Badaic Bozos and 5 Badaic Sononikes. And we have a distribution split of 0 nobles, 7 citizens, 9 freemen, 12 tribesmen, and 11 slaves. Now, something to note about sub-Saharan Africa is that you may assume that it's just a lot of desert and kind of arid landscape, and while it is definitely hot down here, things are a bit more diverse than you may be expecting. Terrain-wise, the vast majority of this terrain is actually plains, with some desert near the Sahara and intermixed with the plains, along with a lot of impassable terrain made up of actual deserts, as well as denser jungles and forests, but also some forest tiles, plenty of farmland, especially around the rivers, and even some marshes here and there, so things are a bit more diverse terrain-wise than you may have been expecting. There's also dense jungle down by the coastline, and further this direction you see the same kind of distribution with some hills as well. So, not the worst terrain to work with, honestly. I'd rather be in a hot plains area than, for example, like an alpine climate, forest area. So this isn't actually the worst terrain to work with. It's not exactly like a lush cradle of civilization type place, but it'll do for our purposes. Now, the people of sub-Saharan Africa are just as diverse as the terrain. Religion-wise, the Badaic area is not particularly large, but it's comparable to, for example, the Iberic population in terms of the scale, or the Mahdist, or perhaps what's another good example, like the Khalitics or the Chaldeans or whatnot. So I'm happy with this amount of religious presence for our starting religion, and I'm not really expecting to change my religion. I guess we'll see what the other religions have to offer, but I'm pretty happy, honestly, with 5% state religion happiness as the modifier to work with. Now, on top of the Badaic religion, we are bordering, or our religious area borders the megalithic religion, which is the North African one. We've got the Rugans over here, the Sigawiks south of us, the Akom south of them, the Orasan pretty far away from us, and bordering us over here on the east is the Bori religion. And of course there's some other religions as well further away. Now, culturally, things are even more dispersed. We're in the fairly large and in-charge Sahelian culture group with a number of other cousin cultures around us that are also Sahelian. We also culture group, I should say, borders the Numidian culture group, which is, again, the same as the North African ones, the Senegambian culture group over here, the Ghanaian culture group, the Bantu culture group, and the Saharan culture group. So quite a bit of cultural diversity as well as religious diversity in sub-Saharan Africa. With all that said, let's talk for a second about game configuration, because this is where the difficulty of this campaign really kicks into high gear, because I'll be playing on very hard difficulty. So this is the hardest setting to play in. The AI will be given substantial bonuses while human players get none. AI countries will be more aggressive. As I've talked about before, very hard difficulty in vanilla Imperator Rome is punishingly difficult in a way that doesn't feel balanced to be fun, but more so balanced to be just as hard as possible while still being technically doable. And that's technically doable as a powerful nation like Rome, which is, I'm sure, who they largely playtested as for very hard difficulty. Will this campaign be doable on very hard? Probably yes. But it's going to be a difficult experience, and I'm going to be straining beyond belief to min-max as much as possible, given the challenges very hard difficulty imposes upon an already complicated kind of playstyle with Aristocratic Republic, and because although we are one of the larger nations in our immediate area, we're not exactly way larger than our neighbors, and we'll really need to carefully navigate the diplomatic environment around us to avoid some sort of war against a series of alliances. Even a duo of our neighbors working together can easily overpower us, so we need to proceed with extreme caution and situational awareness in everything we do in the early game of this campaign especially. So on very hard difficulty, the AI will be more aggressive, which it notes there, but I really want to emphasize this is super true. On normal difficulty, the AI will almost never declare war on you. On very hard, the AI is just bloodthirsty. They will attack you at any chance they can. So you basically need to be on your toes at all time on very hard difficulty. As the player, we get morale of armies and morale of navies minus 10%. Brutal stuff, but it gets worse because the AI gets 10% morale of armies and morale of navies positively. So there's a 20% morale difference between our armies and navies and the AIs with no other modifiers in play. And on top of that, the AI gets 50% national tax plus 0.01 provincial loyalty, 15% extra integrated culture happiness, 50% extra national manpower. We're not winning any wars of attrition with AI on this difficulty. Minus 0.02 aggressive expansion change. 1 monthly ruler popularity gain, which, as I've noted before, is an absurd bonus for the AI to get, but okay, they get that. Minus 0.04 monthly tyranny, and 10% increased threshold for civil war for the AI. So, pretty brutal stuff ahead of us. This is going to be a very difficult campaign, but hopefully a fun one to watch. I'll be playing on Ironman mode with the autosaves enabled from that, so that's just how I normally like to play. I record every second of gameplay for my campaign, so you can be rest assured you're catching all the action. And again, if you've not done so, I'd ask you to subscribe. I would appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel so you can catch all these videos and watch the entirety of this very interesting new campaign. And let me know in the comments, by the way, what you think about this first episode, how you think I end up doing, and what your suggestions are for how to handle the situation we find ourselves in. I'm also going to be playing with mixed gender rules enabled in order to make use of all of the characters in my nation. Given that we have a republic, this will both actually make the game easier because I can min-max my government more easily, but also harder because it adds more characters into the complex set of calculations the game is making to determine things like party control and ultimately your Senate support. So this is going to be a complicated campaign. With all of that set up, let's go ahead and begin the Timbuktu campaign. Here we go. Okay. Alright, so immediately, there is an enormous amount of setup we have to do right at the beginning, right now. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and enable social equity. This will cost 25 PI, much more punishingly, 10 approval from the traditionalist faction, so we'll talk about the parties a bit more in a moment, and this will enable both men and women to serve in office. For too long, we have ignored a full half of our populace. Let us break the barriers of bygone tradition and let all stand for office. There we go. Now, you may be wondering, why am I lowering my Senate support or allowing it to be lowered immediately before I do anything else? I have a plan. I've thought through and actually play-tested this opening multiple times in order to figure out how to do this because this is so complicated. But now that we have this enabled, I'm not going to disable it, so we'll turn that off. You can also see, by the way, the other governments we can form into later on. These all require much higher civ level or other things, so I'm not going to look at these right now. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm now going to go over to my government tab and talk for a second about how the different parties are looking at the start here, because this is about to change quite a bit. So we are under the rule of the oligarchs because the main archon is an oligarch. To quickly go over the different parties, the oligarchs, when they're in charge, provide a 15% build cost reduction and an 8% national noble happiness bonus. And in terms of the lore, the oligarchs are the ancient nobles of our nation, and their supporters, who seek to dominate the political life of the country to their own ends and benefit. As such, they eschew, and at best tolerate, the participation of the general populace in politics, which is a threat to their privileged status. The other parties are the traditionalists, who, when they're in charge, they provide an omen power bonus of 10%. The traditionalists are generally not concerned with the political divide that drives the debate of the oligarchs and Democrats. They seek no disturbance with the gods, and merely wish to protect the ancient traditions of the country and the privileges of the priesthood in the face of political reform and strife. And then lastly, the Democrats. 12% citizen output when they're in charge. The Democrats ostensibly support a fairer division of political power and participation in the country, protecting the interests of citizens and non-citizens alike to their own advantage. They are a foil to the domination of the entrenched oligarchs, though the motives of their politicians are often equally devious and ambitious. So to start off, everyone, except for the traditionalists, have 50 approval, so they have 40 because we just did that action. Although trend-wise, the oligarchs are currently trending up, mostly because we have grateful families, and the Democrats are trending down mostly because we have grateful families, while the traditionalists are trending up very slightly, though it's basically neutral. So, The reason I say this is all about to change is because the control is based on the influence of the faction members, and we're about to change everybody's influence quite a bit, because I'm now going to fire every person, starting with the least loyal characters over here. So let's start with you, and rehire everybody. Now that I can have women in office, we're going to be able to min-max this much, much better. And because I need to min-max this with the influence levels for the factions carefully in mind. So let's go ahead and do just that there. That guy was almost disloyal. That was super close. Fortunately, I caught him before he lost any more. I'd hate to have to use some action to increase someone's loyalty to then remove them from office, so avoided that problem there. Okay. Now that we've done this, let's go back to our government screen, and you're going to see me do this a lot in this campaign. I have to make every decision about my internal workings of my government with the factions first and foremost in mind. I can't make a single decision without thinking about how it will affect the factions, because maintaining my Senate support is crucial. Now, the way that this works in vanilla, which is how it works in this mod, is below 51 Senate support, I have to spend tyranny, and it scales with the amount away from 51 that I am to do actions that require Senate support, most of these being diplomatic actions. If I'm below 33 Senate support, I can't do any actions at all. So maintaining my 51% and above Senate support, critically important to keep my my diplomatic options open, which I need to do in order to avoid anyone around me becoming strong enough to kill me. So it's going to be a very careful balancing act to keep the Senate on board with my shenanigans. Right, so having emptied my government of characters, we now are at 52, 25, and 23 control for the different parties. And by the way, the reason that there's still control for these guys is because the various heads of families have power base. Now, every character in my nation is part of a party, but only characters with power base are contributing to control because of how control is calculated. It's complicated, and my own mod, Hegemony, which has a lot of reworked mechanics for sort of polyarchies, which is republics in my mod, it changes all the tooltips to display everything more clearly. But in vanilla, the way to understand this is that with only the family heads having power base, and the Archon himself is, I believe, also a family head. Yep, he is. We have 4 families because I'm playing with the More Families mod. So we've got the Chilabile family, which is where my Archon and Co-Archon come from, the Suwari family, the Sankara family, and the Bois Noir family. So pretty straightforward. By the way, these character models go crazy hard. Like, I really, really like these character models. It's using a mixture of different outfits from the base game, and I think it actually looks really good. Like, I was kind of wondering how this would look, because the base game doesn't really have sub-Saharan African clothing and whatnot modeled, but the modders did a great job with this. So this is just impressive, especially the female characters. Like, this looks like, you know, Crusader Kings 3 levels of sub-Saharan African, you know, kind of clothing design. So I'm pretty happy with how this looks, honestly. All right, so getting back into it. I now need to reassign all the offices, and I can now assign female characters to the offices, but I have to think very carefully about the power base that I'll be adding to the control levels. Now, one question to ask right away is, do I actually want to maintain the strength of the oligarchs? They're the faction in charge. They are going to, well, they're currently super upset because of Scorn families. So let me back up. Playing as a republic and doing a campaign as a republic requires me to constantly think about how I even, like, present what I'm saying to you, because there's like 5 different systems all interacting with each other at the same time, and I have to decide everything thinking about how every action I take affects all of these systems simultaneously. So the control of the parties I can increase by assigning characters to offices to give them power base, and the characters are in the parties, right? That's the way that this is going to work. However, the other thing to keep in mind is whether I want to have the Democrats or oligarchs gain or lose approval, and how much I want this, because the more families are scorned, the more the oligarchs are furious, and they lose a ton of approval per month. The more families are scorned, the more the Democrats gain approval, so it's an inverse of each other, right? These two parties are meant to be opposites politically, with the traditionalists not caring about this at all, right? So, do I want to have, for example, do I want to maintain the strength of the oligarchs, which, given that they're currently the faction in charge, they have 2 family heads that are oligarchs, so they have a ton more control than the other factions. This means I probably want to lean into the oligarch dominance for this election cycle, in order to keep my Senate support as high as possible, because the oligarch approval will be weighted more because they have more control than the other parties. So basically, beating up on the other parties to improve the oligarchs may be better because the oligarchs have more power. That's the basic way to phrase this. Which means I may want to assign oligarch characters in particular, so the high oligarch approval, well, they're going to have high approval a bit later. So basically, to back up again, I basically need to sync up and kind of do all of my different actions with the same end goal. So if my end goal that I figure out right now is I want the oligarchs to be in charge in order to get Senate support from a large and happy oligarch faction, I need to do all of my actions now to support the outcomes that will create a large and happy oligarch faction. Which means I need to have my families not be scorned, and I want my families to be grateful, to both remove the scorned families' malice and to get the grateful families bonus. This will upset the Democrats, though, so another question would be, do I want to have the families not be scorned, but also not be grateful? Because what I would rather have is the Democrats still trending up, or at least not trending down very much, even if the oligarchs aren't gaining approval more, because I'm also going to be doing this in just a moment. The oligarchs have a mission for me, because they're the faction in charge, to abolish the assemblies. And this is a mission I plan to do for my opening strategy. And so I'm going to get 10 approval for the oligarchs from doing this. On top of doing this actually getting me another 5 approval from the action itself and losing approval with the other parties. This is going to result in a net negative to my Senate support, but it's also going to give me the actual modifier from the law, which is 5% monthly PI. Now, the current law that I have, which is monthly corruption minus 0.10, is also really good because I'm also going to be doing PI manipulation and PI maximization. I'm going to be increasing the loyalty of all of my officers I'm about to assign to increase the amount of PI that I'm gaining per month as much as possible. But doing this means I'll be gaining corruption, so I'll be giving them all free hands, which means more corruption for all of them, 0.20 corruption per month, which means the 0.10 corruption monthly reduction from assembly residents will be really useful. But I actually would need Senate support more than I need wage reduction, which is what comes from reducing corruption, which is what comes from assembly residents, which means that oh my gosh, which means that getting abolish assemblies in order to get the extra approval, 15 approval total with both the 5 from this and the 10 from the mission, which is less than the 25 approval loss from the other parties, but because the oligarchs are twice as large as the other two parties, they're basically the size of the other two parties together, this is ultimately a good action to take, especially if I stack my government with oligarchs to increase the oligarch control even further. So, as you can see, my opening strategy here is an oligarch takeover. I need the oligarchs large and in charge to keep my government from falling apart. Hope you followed all that. Let's get to it. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to go ahead and change the law, I think, before I assign my characters, just to see what this puts me at before I assign everybody. So, let me go ahead and switch over to abolish assemblies. I'll be getting the mission reward, possibly on the monthly tick, possibly right away. Don't remember exactly, but it will kick in eventually. This also gives me, by the way, Senatorial War Council, which I can then do immediately as part of my opening strategy, which I didn't overlook. This is actually part of the plan to be able to do this to get a claim for February 1st. Only by removing the right for assemblies to pass judgment on the decisions of our government, we'll be able to get on with ruling without interference. So, to quickly go over what this is doing, this enables the Senatorial War Council action, which is very similar to the Tribal War Council, but it requires the specific law to do. It has a 10-year cooldown, it works the exact same, you get the idea, it targets neighbors. Also, this will give me 5% monthly PI as a modifier instead of minus 0.10 monthly corruption as a modifier. And then it will also, because I'm below 51 Senate support, give me tyranny. I could have technically done this before I did the other action I did, which was, what was the other action I just did? Hold on. I have to back up in my mind. What did I just do to lose support? It wasn't firing everybody. Oh yeah, it was the equal rights. And that lost me less support than what this is going to do, so I did this in the right order, is what I'm trying to say. Because this will lose me more support than the equal rights action lost me, which means I'm spending less tyranny overall, because if I did this one first, I'd spend more tyranny to do the other one. I have to do both of them. So I'll gain 2.3 tyranny from taking this action, because I'm below 51. And I'll gain 5 approval, and then another 10 approval from the mission for the oligarchs, lose 10 approval for the traditionalists, and lose 15 approval for the Democrats. Let's do it. All right, 44 Senate support, which is not great, but it could be a lot worse. And we now have the monthly PI bonus as well. You can see, by the way, that the tyranny that I spend to take actions when the Senate disagrees is scaling more and more as I get further away from 51. Okay, this will get the oligarchs another 10 approval, so that will boost things even further. Now what I need to do is stack my government with oligarchs as much as feasibly possible, while still having a high-quality government. And I'm going to be focusing on something a little unusual that you may not be expecting. I'm going to be focusing on loyalty modifiers more than on the actual attributes, because I need to squeeze as much political influence out of the system as I possibly can, because every action I take in this early game is going to be draining my extremely limited political influence a ton, right? To manage your republic, you have to use a lot of political influence. So I need to focus on loyal officers more than competent officers, especially early on. With a few exceptions, for example, I need a really good censor for the party approval. The other thing to keep in mind is, do I really want to max out the oligarch happiness by having the grateful families? And I think the way to think about this is I want to have all happiness trending up, or all approval trending upward, even if it means getting less trend from the actions I take. So I could, for example, focus on tons and tons and tons of approval trend upward for the oligarchs and tons of loss for the Democrats by having all the families be grateful. I mean, I don't think I can even fit them all in to be grateful. You get the idea. But I think what I'd rather have is have everyone trending up, perhaps even have the Democrats trending up more in order to clean up the Democratic faction situation. Because even though they only have 22% control, that is still an amount of control that plays a role in my Senate support. So gaining approval with them may be good because I have such good approval with the oligarchs. So it may ultimately be good to balance these three factions more than leaning in to have one of them have tons more approval. I don't mind having one of them have more control, but I can't necessarily overdo it with both tons of control and tons of approval if it means losing out on approval elsewhere. So there's so much to think about, but basically, I think what I'm going to do in order to keep things balanced here is I'm going to, I think I do need to go full oligarch here in order to salvage this. I'm going to go the middle road where I'm going to have all the families not be scorned, but I'm not going to give any family grateful on purpose in order to keep the Democrats from getting upset so that they are still trending up, even if it's not quite as much. That's probably the safest way to handle this. Okay, so as you can see, all of this planning has to proceed how I organize my government, because who I assign plays this giant role in the way the politics of the factions work in vanilla. Okay, so first things first. I guess one question should be, do I care about, because these positions here don't matter for the loyalty for the PI, so having qualified characters here is actually really important. And we do actually have some traits potentially. Let me see, who else do we have here with traits? Okay. Not the best characters in the world, but this here is pretty impressive. 9226. What about the other guy? 7634. I don't have a ton of research right now, but I could gain quite a bit from these traits. So I will actually assign the marshal position to this guy here with 7634, because 7 is his highest stat. He's a family character. Any family heads with traits? This family head actually has a trait. That's perfect. It's perfect. Okay. What about the other one? No, it's not a family head. That's too bad. Okay, so this guy here, Tokurama Sankara, will be my researcher with the trait. I think this is more important than avoiding grateful. I mean, I'm going to be able to avoid grateful fairly easily, given I have 4 families to work with here. So this guy's intelligent. He'll be generating additional innovations if assigned to a research position. Very good. Okay. Next up, for the civic position, let's see. Okay, we'll assign Layla Sankara. This will make the Sankara family no longer scorned. And you can see, by the way, an immediate reaction to this from the families. Oligarchs are less unhappy and Democrats are less happy because of the loss of one of the families being scorned, because they both react to that. Okay. Next up, let's see. The last character here. Zeal is probably the best for this guy. So we'll assign this guy to be the Zeal character. This is the family head. Wadriago Sankara. Alright. And for the final position, I'd prefer to assign a family head because their loyalty is going to be harder to min-max, so this guy here is actually pretty good anyways. Sigiri Sawari will be the charisma researcher. And every 5-year tick, I want to actually revisit my offices and possibly change them around, especially if new, younger characters with traits have popped up for these research positions. So 70%, 60%, 90%, 60%, pretty solid. We've got 20% research efficiency by default. That's okay. We're not going to be a research powerhouse right away, given what we're dealing with, so I will take this. And as you can see, I'm assigning offices mostly for political reasons more than for efficiency reasons, as really necessary to play politics efficiently. Okay, having done that, let's see. Hasn't really... Okay, so 2 of the researchers are traditionalists, but they have very little power base from that, so that's not too much of an impact. Okay. Let's now see what we can do about assigning traditionalists specifically to these offices without making too many compromises. So this guy here, okay, Scorn family is 10. That's the other thing too, is that anyone who's in an office position should... So I definitely shouldn't go for Scorn families, because Scorn families, although good for the Democrats, is bad for my loyalty of officers, which is then bad for my political influence. So Wati Tielebe, this is the party leader. Yeah, this guy should be the censor. I think that's probably safe. Okay. Actually, he's always... Yeah, traditionalist. There he is. Okay, perfect. Wait, no, not traditionalist. I should be assigning oligarchs, not traditionalists. What am I talking about? I think my brain failed there. Oligarchs, that's who we're trying to power up, not the traditionalists. Okay, well, I don't have a lot of options for oligarch characters for this position here, so we need to get some of these families to not be scorned as it is. So, let me come back to it. Alright, 9 Marshal with you. Oh, that would make a grateful family, though. This is so tough. This is so tough. I think the grateful family modifier on approval is too big, even for having another oligarch with power base. So I'm gonna... Because it's only 2 power base to be in these offices. So let's not min-max that intensely at this stage. It's not going to be necessary. Alright, Kaba Sawari. I think as long as I avoid any family becoming grateful, that's the best I can do here to control the oligarch approval loss. Or, no, that's not right. Oh my gosh. This is already destroying my brain. I want to ensure that Democrats are not losing approval too much, and that's why I'm trying to avoid families becoming grateful. That's what I'm trying to say, because the Democrats dislike grateful families. There we go. I said that coherently that time. Okay, Omen Power, let's see. All right, Reja Boanon, that's fine. Okay. Treatment of the people. Let's do... They're all traditionalists as well. Wagwe Boano, I think is fine. Yes. Actually, this guy's weak-willed. Let's assign Bari Sank... Ah, that would be grateful, never mind. Kaya? No, this is the same. Okay, that's fine. I can't afford grateful families with this setup. Oh, there's so many grateful characters, or characters that would make grateful. Balkisa Sawari will have to do with the 9 Marshal. It's a lot of traditionalists. How's this affecting the government so far? It's not actually... I don't think it's... I think on the tick it's going to recalculate. But this could be bad after a tick. As long as I guess an oligarch... Maybe as the oligarchs, I coalition with the traditionalists to keep the Democrats out of power. Maybe we have to approach it like that. That's probably... Given just how many good characters are traditionalists, I may have to sort of approach it like that. And then let me try to keep the Democrats out as much as possible right here. Alright, so Barakisa with the 8. Put her in there for High Priest. Let's do Ekoi Dagano, I think. He's a minor character, that's good. And for the Physician, we will just do someone who's not going to give me Grateful, so another minor character. Patara Gombe Bulsa. Okay, now let's take a look at the government situation. It's not been recalculated yet, but Democrats should probably have around 28, 29, maybe probably 28. Traditionalists are probably going to gain on the tick, going to go up to maybe 35 or so, maybe a bit less. And the oligarchs may lose a little bit of power, but the oligarchs should still be basically in charge. Okay, having done that, the other tricky thing here is that I can't bribe them because my main character doesn't have any money. And if I were to give them free hands, I believe... Actually, hold on. Okay, the traditionalists don't like it when I give free hands to the Democrats, but they actually don't mind if I give it to a traditionalist. I didn't even realize this. This is actually perfect. I've given myself a way to boost the loyalty of my governor, of my officers, without upsetting the traditionalists. I thought this would be a problem I have to work around, so I've actually found the workaround by accident. Do you see how complicated this is? This is what I will be dealing with in this campaign, and I am so excited for it. This is exactly why I played this game. Okay, as for the physician, this will lose me some traditionalist approval, but gain me approval with the Dems, which might be fine. I think it's worth it just for the loyalty boost with this guy. And let me check, actually, did I accidentally assign anybody with corruption problems? I don't think I did, but let me check that really quick. I need to be aware of this before I start giving out free hands. Righteous over here, that's good. I probably can't bribe her then, actually, but she can still probably get free hands. Okay, we're totally fine. Okay. 42. Yeah, we're at 40 and 20 now. But fortunately, the traditionalists are not going to put up a fuss if I give free hands to their own characters. So, let's start... Oh, 42.59. Is that... Okay, it's a very slight loss. It's not displaying in the tooltip, but I think it's because of the Democrats having like a very slight disapproval to giving free hands to traditionalists. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, we're at 42 now, but we have 1.68 PI per month. And that's prior to giving Salma Steam Influence, which of course I'm going to do. We're at 2 per month now. That's very, very important. Also, while we're looking at him, let's talk about Salma for a second. 9281. He is obsessive, which means 1 extra zeal, 0.05% monthly statesmanship, and 5% Great Wonder construction bonus. Also, as the governor, local research points minus 10%, but as the ruler, 2.50% research points nationwide. When Salma puts his mind to a task, he could quite forget but anything as trivial as eating, sleeping, or at times breathing. He can also, actually that's just for if he's the researcher, he's also proud, 1 less charisma, 0.05% monthly statesmanship, and, what's relevant for us, 0.05 monthly oligarchic convictions. And he is in the oligarch faction, so that does make sense. As the governor, fort defense in our capital region is 10% better. This offsets our national modifier from heritage. And as the ruler, tribute income is plus 10%. Hubris is warned of in the Greek tales of old. It would seem that Salma never cared for the theater. This is actually the Greek tales of the future at the time that this campaign is set. He also has a wife named Mecca and a son named Al-Hajj. Very Muslim-style names over here. That's interesting. Okay, we also have obviously our co-archon, Jaruru Tialabele. He is devout for extra traditionalist conviction of 0.15 and loyalty of 5. That's actually pretty good for the co-ruler. As the ruler, this doesn't matter because he's not the ruler, but if you were the ruler, Owen power 5% plus and minus 10% invoke Dewodio cost. Prayer can be a source of hope in dark times. Luckily for Jaruru, it is often dark. He is also zealous, very kind of coherent character sheet here. Plus 1 zeal, monthly traditionalist conviction, plus 0.10. As the governor, he would provide state religion happiness of 2.50%, and as the ruler, he would provide unintegrated culture group happiness reduction of 6%. A raging fire burns in the heart of Jaruru, furthered by the spirit of religious mystery. Of course, with all of these traditionalist modifiers, he is in the Democrat Party. As you can see, this is a little lopsided. Not entirely sure why this worked out like this, but that's how the game sort of generates these characters. Once we get into a generation or so, things will be a lot more predictable with the party alignments. Anyways, having done all that, looks like the Democrats are at 21% now. Traditionalists are at 27%. Okay. At this point, what I need to do is boost traditionalists and oligarch approval, which means I think beating up on Democrats is probably going to be the way to go. So this is dicey to do because I'm not 100% sure how this will calculate out, but if I were to smear Democrats, I think that might actually be, let's see, I need to have someone with greater than 5 popularity. Let's find someone who is of that. Okay, the co-ruler is of that character. Let me think about this. Is co-ruler popularity doing anything for me? Oh, you know what? Actually, it would affect the average ruler popularity, so I shouldn't smear him. Okay, I'm glad I checked that. I thought that might be a problem. Nobody else has above 5, so I can't smear anybody else. That's completely fine. It probably wouldn't even increase my support, honestly, given how smearing is often quite unpredictable. Okay, so having noted that, with our 9287, we're looking at manpower recovery speed of 9% and army morale recovery of 9% under their shared rule. Finesse of 2 means build cost reduction of 2% and national commerce income bonus of 4%. The 8 charisma means 1.6 claim fabrication speed and minus 0.08 monthly tyranny. And with the borrowed 7 zeal, minus 0.07 monthly war exhaustion and plus 0.07 monthly stability change. Right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and adopt some ideas, but I can't afford to get all 3 of them right now, so I'll have to hold off on these bonuses for now. We are not currently dealing with a disloyal family head with Ada Buonu, although it is fairly close because he's lapsed. He has a high power base as well, so we can safely leave him near 33 but not below it for now without any problems. I'm going to be grabbing martial ethos, as obviously I need any amount of morale of armies I can find to even the odds for the wars to come. Ensuring that our soldiers and veterans hold a prestigious place in the social hierarchy is key to their contentment and loyalty. Morale of armies plus 5. And with my scant remaining PI, I'll be grabbing sanction privileges to help offset the 0.20 corruption with no loss that everyone's gaining now in my government. Monthly corruption minus 0.05. By agreeing to look the other way from time to time, we can lessen our reliance on using currency as a tool for bribery. Okay, very good. And that's all of my PI now lost. It is what it is. I can't even afford to change my local policy, which, by the way, is starting off at encourage trade. I suppose that's fine. We'll look at our territory in a bit. As for the religion stuff, we have got no holy sites for our religion. Our religion just doesn't have any set up yet. We do have 2 treasures that we could potentially assign if we built a holy site. The statue of the jackal for 15% pop assimilation speed in the tile, and the 10% local noble happiness treasury of Timbuktu. Very appropriate. Now, we have only 1 god per slot, so we just have what we have. And if we were to add other gods in, then the traditionalists would become unhappy by not having a sort of a mono-religious pantheon. So the Great Serpent provides Morale of Armies, Omen, and Legion Maintenance cost passive. The Jackal provides 13% national commerce income and 10% national tax passive. The Urugu, Deity of Culture, provides 13.68% state religion happiness and 5% research points passive. And Beta provides 6.84% tribesman happiness and 0.04% population growth. Honestly, some pretty solid gods. I'm going to be going ahead and worshipping the Great Serpent for obvious reasons for the first 5-year period, and possibly for a number of 5-year periods, to try to desperately close the morale gap between us and our enemies, or soon-to-be enemies, I should say. As for trade routes, we can't reach anybody, so there's no need to even worry about that right now. As for the economy, army maintenance is going up, and aside from that, taxes could be reduced slightly. I don't think that's actually going to help us too much right now. We have a very small economy to start with. No need to really change any of this. I actually might change my commerce law because I don't have any routes I can set up, but I don't have any commerce otherwise, or barely any commerce. I guess we have some commerce from having the resource untraded, but this shouldn't affect it either way, so I'm going to leave it alone. Wages, I'm going to increase to further reduce monthly corruption and try to keep it under control. Our officers will have a 0.05 corruption gain per month, which I think is pretty manageable, though this will make their wages increase. It'll increase fairly slowly, so this is the best long-term solution I have for now, without more ways to fight corruption. Okay, having done all that, let's go ahead and start the matter of Ghana, as I haven't even talked about this yet. Our starting region is Ghana. We are bordering the, what's this place called? The Sahara Occidentalis region over here. And we're also bordering the Jolof region, Mali, Jenne, Ouagadougou, and Songhay. And of course, province-wise, we're in the Timbuktu province, bordering the Kolyma province, Mema, Jenne, Kora, and Diafunu. Okay, so let's start matter of Ghana. Our fortunes await in foreign lands. The Ghana region has been considered part of our borders, yet much of it remains beyond our control. Make sure that it is brought under our influence one way or another. This mission will be considered complete when the entire region of Ghana is under Timbuktuian influence. Start the mission, consult the assembly, claims on Kolyma, Timbuktu, and Quora. That's perfect. This will allow us to expand, particularly in the Bozo area, where we need to get more of our core population under our control to increase our starting levy, which, by the way, starts at 3. Great. Having said all that, now let's swing on over to our government tab to click the Senatorial War Council. Now I've got all the characters in position. We can take advantage of the law that I changed to actually get a claim that we can act on February 1st, which we're going to need to start our snowball. We're going to be in a mad dash race against the AI to gain enough local population to protect ourselves, particularly from an alliance war declaration against us. If 2 of our neighbors conspire to fight me at the same time, it could very easily be game over, so I need to be on all 10 of my toes at all times to avoid that kind of disaster. Summons a selection of our most prestigious senators to consider a focus for our next conquest. This can be used to provide a claim on a province and may be used once every 10 years while we have the law in effect at least. Okay, the Senate assembles. What do we have here? Many long hours have passed since the Senate Hall closed for the day, yet 4 figures still sit, animated in intense discussion over matters of future conquest. Wati, a senator often associated with the government of our state, and this is my censor. Jawaru, this is my co-archon, a senator known for their strong opinions, and Dari, this is just some guy, a senator with few achievements to their name, each argue for their own chosen course of action. As promising and flawed arguments are proffered on all sides, the status quo descends eventually. Jawaru and Dari agree on the necessity of curbing the Asakani threat, whereas Wati opines that his preference lies in the plenteous lands of Gundam. Is up to us to determine the best course. So I'm not picking the third option because I don't want to miss out on a claim here, but what are our options here exactly? This will give me loss of approval with the Dems and the Traditionalists and give me a claim, and also it will give me loyalty with the Censor, whose loyalty will be increased not above 100 and will improve my PI, so that is worth noting. Though the approval loss from these 2 parties is a little painful. They are the 2 weaker parties, so that's good. This will give us a claim on Gundami, which is right next to me, so that's pretty good. But Gundami is not my culture. This is Sononike culture, so not as good in that sense. The other option is to agree with this random guy, and with Jawaru, I guess, actually, technically. So this will give me loyalty on the Co-Archon, which is not bad at all. 10 loyalty for 5 years. Lose approval from the Traditionalists, which I think is probably safe to do, given that I've... well, hold on. Is it safe to do? They're pretty upset right now, so they're not gaining approval very quickly at all. I may need to do their bidding a little bit to get things under control again. Or I may need to smear some oligarchs to get their approval back up. I'll have to think about this. This will bring them down to 10 approval. But I get a claim on the Ascani province of Kolyma. Where is that? Okay, Kolyma's up here. Okay, Ascani is here, and that's actually also... Okay, so these are both actually not Bozo targets, which is not exactly great. But between the 2 of them, I'd rather consolidate my core province first than go out to this other province. So I will go for the option that loses me less approval with the Traditionalists and also loses me some approval with the Dems, and gives me loyalty with this random... or not this random guy, with my censor, I should say. So Wati of the Traditionalists has the facts we must make war on Gundam. 39, youch, but hopefully on the monthly tick, I will get that approval burst from completing the mission. Where is it? The mission, the agenda, I should say, and that should help a little bit. Now, the Traditionalists want an investment, which just requires me to do one of the investments, which I definitely can't afford. And what do the Democrats want? Dare I ask? They want term length changes. They're out of their minds. I'm not giving them that. No. Okay, let's see. Got my mission set up. I wish I could change this, but I can't. I don't have the PI for it, which you're gonna hear me say that a lot in this campaign. Let me get my army prepared. I have my morale of armies. Okay, we're good to go. Raise them. Let's see. Up here, we've got our 3 units led by our 9 martial character. Dare I look? What are we looking at here? 3? Oh, we're fine. We're in the money. Element is the way to go. Light infantry, cab on the side, reorganize with the tick. That'll bring him up to 3.32. It's going to be less than what the enemy is providing on the field, the Gundams, but it's the best we can do. Population-wise, we're at 39. What are they at? 11? Actually, let me look at the real numbers that count. We're actually at 34. So they should be bringing 1, possibly 2 units. They're going to have better morale, but they're going to have much, much worse martial, and we're going to have the numbers advantage. So this is a doable target for very hard. It's a little closer than I'd even prefer, but it's not like I have a lot of options. Fortunately, in 1 year, we're going to get our mission complete, our court consultation, which means claims on everybody, and we can start focusing on fellow bozos. Okay. At this point, let's see. War exhaustion is going down. Stability is low, but climbing back up. I'd really love to do a divine sacrifice, but this is completely out of my cost options right now. Invoke Dewodia would be really inefficient with only this much war exhaustion, so I'm not going to even bother with that. Okay. At this point, let's take a quick look at our province here. We've got our capital of Timbuktu. That actually has a couple buildings. We'll come back to that in a moment. Tiabu is a farmland on the river. Good future city location. Also is a wheat, or grain, I should say. Bangu is a marsh, and it has fish. And Gartjire is a marsh with dyes. Okay, sure. We've got a dyes marsh. Interesting. And we've also got the plains of Agana Gefal with earthenware. These are city resources. I'm not sure what they're doing in these settlements, but I'll take it. And then Timbuktu is a gold producer. That's a pretty good start. We have double gold here. Why do we have double gold here? We may just have double golds automatically, which is pretty great if that's true. We can sell the gold for some money. Very nice. We also get national assistant happiness from the double gold, so I may not want to sell it too quickly, to be completely honest. As for the buildings, we've got a fort, obviously, provided the normal fort modifiers. 5% reduced local manpower, 1 fort level, 5% fort defense locally, and 1% civ level locally. And it also counts for fort strategy stuff. We also have a library for extra research points, 2% civ level, and 2.50% pop conversion speed. I will eventually have Timbuktu be a research production machine, so libraries will eventually be the name of the game, so I'm not going to remove this, even though I could dismantle it to make it a little bit of money. We also have a marketplace for 2% civ level, 2.50% pop simulation speed locally, and 2.50% local-based trade routes. Not amazing, but not worth dismantling, because I do like the civ level bonus we get from it. The civ level, as it grows, will help out a lot, so I'm happy to let it grow. And we have the training camp for 10% local manpower and 2% local civ level. So, solid buildings. I don't know if I would have built these if I had the room for it and I was just deciding to build something, but I'm not going to destroy them. These buildings are not like counterproductive for my opening build here. Okay, with all of that noted, I think we're ready to go ahead and begin. I can't do too much more without any PI, so let's proceed on speed 2 and hope these guys don't think of getting an ally by February 1st when I can declare war on them, because of course I have to wait. It will also cost me a lot of tyranny, assuming the Senate doesn't get back into more support. I'll see what I can do in the meantime, but I can't exactly delay this. I have to take action, or else we're going to face larger and larger problems with progression later. So, anything else I want to do before I unpause? I could beat up on Democrats to get approval with the other parties, and I think it may not be the worst idea. But then it's also going to cost more tyranny. But then again, tyranny gain at the moment, as long as I can keep the loyalty under control, threshold I can manage, loyalty gain I can manage. Honestly, tyranny gain is not the end of the world for the early game right now. The AE change will be nice. Slave output's not going to make a huge difference. It's kind of a wash otherwise. The main problem with tyranny is it's just really hard to lose it. But I may not have much of a choice right now. I don't think I want to gain tyranny on purpose with my strategy, but I don't think gaining it's the end of the world. And I'm worried about messing up Senate support with doing smearing, because smearing also costs tyranny, which is why I'm thinking about it. Given the control levels, I think the Democrats should be safe to smear. Let me try. Well, let me see actually if I can even do it right now. Actually, I don't think I can because there's no Democrats with more than 5 popularity. Okay, never mind. I was mistaken about my options. I could do holdings. This would kind of work as well. This will very likely provide Senate support because I'm gaining 5 approval with the oligarchs and losing it with the Dems, and the oligarchs have like more than double the Democratic power base right now. 40 gold though is a lot, and I don't know. I could do it directly with the ruler, I suppose. It's not the worst idea. 5 corruption though, never mind. Boy. This is gonna be tricky. Okay, let's see. The Democrats don't even like it when their own party member gets a holding. Okay, 40 is probably too much, to be completely honest. Stipends are going to upset the Democrats, but not affect the other parties, oddly enough, so let's not. Okay, I think we just need to proceed. Here we go. Okay, 39 points. Let's keep a close eye on this. I don't think this calculates daily. I think it's a monthly tick type thing. On the tick, we're also going to get passed law to take into effect, so that'll hopefully reduce our support deficit situation. I have to roll with the punches. As I've said multiple times, this is going to be a very difficult early game, given how republics work in vanilla. Aims... Oh, here, it's actually even a little bit early. Aims of oligarchs realized. Partisans of the oligarchs are... 44, yes. my tyranny... my tyranny death march can be held off a little bit longer. Partisans of the oligarchs are practically falling over each other to congratulate Archon Salma for defending their interests in the assembly of Timbuktu. It seems the decisions of our government have ensured the approval of the interests of the elite for the time being. Yes, give me that approval. The matter of Ghana. The region of Ghana has remained a valuable source of trade and commerce for our nation for many long years. Many amongst the assembly insist that such a bountiful land would serve much better purpose if fully integrated under the Timbuktuan banner. Of course, as with all matters of state, many are in opposition, claiming that a healthy relationship with our neighbors is far more important than a wanton land grab. The leaders of each side have presented their arguments and asked for an arbitration as to which method would be more appropriate in our dealings with the various states resident in Ghana. Now, friendship and cooperation is my normal preference, but let's see if there's any reason to go the other way. I would rather lose loyalty with a researcher than an officer character, to be completely honest. Let me take a look actually at this. He's confident. Not great. I would rather have the peaceful outcome, though, to be completely honest. I think on very hard I need to go for peaceful. We long for friendship and cooperation in Ghana. Okay, monthly tick. Okay. We can now declare war, and we will in just a moment, but first... Okay. I think we're in the clear. It may... Does it actually... Okay, it's rounding. I see what's going on. Oligarchs are overjoyed. That's good. I'm so tempted to smear, but I shouldn't. I don't know, because I'm not completely sure what it's going to do to the approval and to the mandate effect, to use a hegemony term. I'm going to hold off on smearing and just eat the tyranny right now. Sorry, boys. Gotta be a little tyrannical. Tyranny is just a number after all. Okay, so this will, it's not displaying it, but this will cause, oh, here, it displays it here, 4 tyranny to do this. Also, the oligarchs like this, which didn't exactly expect that, but I'll take it. This will ironically make another war that I do right after less tyranny. Not that I'm going to do another war immediately right after, I don't have any more claims. But let's go ahead and attack our first target here of Gaongnam. Awkwardly not a bozo target, but they will be helping us consolidate our core province. Alright, here we go. Take Timbuktu. Alright. 47 support. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Alright. In we go. And anyone want to trade with me by chance? Nope. No trade for me. That's fine. Can't do too much with my ideas. Okay. Good. Just make sure I didn't forget anything. Who's going to be the new Archon, by the way? These guys are not old enough. Is there anyone who's old enough? Hold on. I don't think I have anyone old enough. What's going to happen because I don't have anyone who's 35 or older? Okay. Very... Maybe they'll be... Will they be old enough in time? I don't think so. I don't know what's going to happen in 5 years. There's, like, no one allowed to be Archon, according to the rules. We'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We may have an anarchy period at the start of our campaign. Okay, here we go. This should be fairly unproblematic. 16th of February. They should raise as we arrive. Or not. I guess they might not raise. Oh, there they are. Okay. Raise just in time for a stackway. Battle of Account Dom has been won. 48 lost. That's acceptable. Now there is a bit of a problem here. We need 2k to siege. I'm glad I didn't start handing out holdings because I'm going to need to hire mercenaries now. Shoot. That's actually a pretty serious issue that I need 2k to siege. I forgot that that's how vanilla balances it. Oh boy, alright. Fortunately, I do have the money available. I would have preferred not to do this, but until we have at least 4 cohorts. Because keep in mind that in vanilla, everyone starts with 4 cohorts, but because I'm using the no minimum levy size mod, I actually have my correct 3 cohorts, not 4. Okay, we're gonna have to do this at least for the first couple wars. Let me hire and then keep them retained. Do I have the money for that? Not really, but I have to. I just need, like, I need a small force that's ideally doesn't have a high martial character so my leader can stay in charge of all the sieges. Anybody nearby who's below, okay, here we go. 3k is a lot. Anyone less? Oh, that's even less. That's, where are you? Okay, you're not that far away. It's gonna be 100 gold and then 3.13. But that's with increased pay, so I could make this more manageable. Any smaller armies than this? 1k, that's more like it. Oh, you're really far away. But you're also cheap. Oh boy. Who's got golden armor? Look at this guy. Look at this 16-year-old with a full beard. I don't know about that. If we're gonna hire, I mean, the thing is also, as much as it is cheaper, if I'm gonna spend 100 gold, I may as well get, like, a large enough army to win me the next couple of wars. But then it's like, okay, can I really afford this? I guess I do have a number of buildings I can deconstruct to pay for the merc, so we're back. Mercenaries are back on the menu, boys. Let's go find someone who's not gonna overtake my leader, martial-wise. 8 martial, who's closest? You're probably closest. What about the other guy? You're not closer, okay. Which means we're gonna be hiring you. Okay, at this point, I can reduce pay. Well, it will affect the siege timing. Do I want to just assault, actually, and then lower and re-raise? I can just siege manually. Man. Okay. I shouldn't lower my pay. I might get declared war on while I'm at war, so I need to keep my pay up. I'm just gonna have to eat the cost. It's just unavoidable. Alright, we're going for it. Hire in the mercs. These mercs here. Oh, youch. Alright. Come on over, you 8 martial fella. In fact, come over here, because that's faster, and then he'll just double back and join my army there. Okay. And I can't force march you, I assume. No. Not in exile. I can't do it anyways. Alright. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Okay, we can survive a couple years with this expense, but not too much more than that. I'll have to start selling buildings to keep this going. But the snowball in the early game has a cost, especially on very hard, and I will have to pay it. Now I need this guy to not pick up any allies for a little bit while my mercenaries arrive. If I had remembered that Vanilla Imperator Rome requires 2k to siege, I would have probably hired the mercs at game start, and this would have been slightly more efficient, but it is what it is. I can't do anything about it now. We just have to roll with it. At least we'll keep these guys under control in the meantime. Senate support's not too bad. Anyone want to trade with me? Nope. Pour myself some more coffee while I wait. I could have allied with someone with a low martial leader to support me, but I'd rather not deal with alliance networks if I can help it. It's just going to cause a lot of problems. Sounding out the opposition, debate has raged for many years over our rocky relationship with nation-states resident in Ghana. Nyata, a nation many in Timbuktu call a friend, stands well placed to provide us with assistance in our endeavors to control Ghana. Many of our more warlike advisors, however, seem intent on burning all bridges and laying waste to Nyaran lands in an effort to further advance our cause. We must maintain a benevolent image. I don't really think it matters too much. Where's Nyara? Over here. Well, I want the peaceful approach, so we're going to go for this. Okay. Very good. By the way, our starter game score is 240, so we'll see how that changes over the course of the campaign. Settlement cost. This, I can't even see. We'll see later, I suppose. And here we come. Almost there. Fortunately, my actual army is back up to full strength. That's good. We're probably just going to sort of bounce this war into another war right afterwards once I have the claims on January 1st. Alright, here we come. These guys have allied with Esakane. Let's see if they join the war. If they don't get any funny ideas. Okay, these guys are actually at 250 garrison. I can probably do this assault without too much problem. In fact, I shouldn't really take any losses at all. Let me let my morale build up, and then I'll do it. Just to avoid any funny business. Plus I may get a breach, you know. Could happen. It's been known to happen on occasion. Not often, but on occasion. And I'm not going to be able to attack anyone until January 1st, so you know what? I'm going to wait, actually. There's no need to rush right now. Supply shortage, I'll take it. Okay. As for who my first targets are going to be, the focus here needs to be on uniting the bozos, so I need to go south for that. Probably Safade first, because they're in my province as well. You can kind of wrap around, get our province unified. I would like to get this wrapped up by the time I can declare war, but if not, I will have to make some calls. Ooh, these defensive leagues are going to present a problem. Okay, Houndwo is in a different province, but they are still Bozo, so I may want to... Although with the Mercs, I do have an advantage that I may not be factoring in kind of in my brain. Because, again, I playtested this multiple times with different strategies. Which means an attack on the Safari defensive league might be within reason, maybe. I'll look at that a bit more once I get closer to it. No assault also means no loss in the mercs, which preserves our strength. Assault might be necessary, though, actually, as we close things out here. 50%. Keep at it. A ruler is born. We have a son named Yadega. Okay. Incidentally, I don't know if I looked at the family. We did look at the family, yeah, because Mecca and Al-Hajj, and then Yadega is the next son. Very nice. Alright, after this tick, I may do an assault so I get 2 months of recovery after the assault. Status quo, right? It's time for the assault. The sacking of Gondam. Salma Chilebele has led his men to glorious victory during the siege of Gondam. The enemy flee in disgrace, and all that is left is to decide on how to treat the residents within. Needless to say, these spoils of war are likely to cause those back in Timbuktu to admire Salma greatly. But leaving such wealth in the hands of one man could cause problems in the future. Okay, so this is a shared culture group culture location, and it's not exactly like a large city. So is it worth it to kill the local populace, as these will be... It's also fairly small. I'm going to let the looting be gentle here. I'm going to make money from selling the nobles, not from looting the town, the tiny fortress. So let the looting be gentle, gain some popularity on Salma. That is fine by me. Okay, now what we're going to do is... I cannot beeline it for Bangu. Oh man, we're not going to get there very quickly, are we? Okay, we'll get there in time for the January 1st tick, so that'll be good. Actually, we're going to get here in time. These are large tiles, so let me go to... I really would have liked to get into Safari before they raised, but I'm not going to have time for it. I can get into Gartjire, and then I can do a recovery tick with reorganization in Gartjire. That'll have to do, to be honest, unfortunately. Go, go, go. Alright, so 4 pops here. These guys may not even have a cohort to raise. In fact, they very likely don't. Gene is 16. That's a bit more serious. But only 12 are their native culture, so 1 pop, 1 cohort, maybe 2. And then Dia is 18, which is actually 11. So again, maybe 1. So yeah, this defensive league is actually not as scary as it looks at first. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, these mercs change the math quite a bit, because against this defensive league, I would have probably still gone with a 3v2 and just hoped that I did the math right. With a 10v2, I'm definitely in the clear. So yeah, I think I can ease off a little bit on the doomer mathematics when it comes to planning where I can attack. I just need to attack everybody and essentially be as aggressive as possible to get the ball rolling. Okay. We also can get the final idea next month. I've not been forgetting about this, and I want this to get these modifiers as soon as possible. Okay. Incidentally, actually first let me do this now. So there's a question of, do I want to actually wait and do Divine Sacrifice first? And I really, really want Divine Sacrifice to get my stability back under control. But loyalty of characters +5 will ensure our Bois Noir doesn't get any funny ideas. Also, the Freeman Happiness will be really good for my entire nation, for my manpower recovery especially. I think it is worth it to go ahead and grab Order to Retreat now. I could alternatively grab some other thing and not get these bonuses. And State Religion as well as Origin Myth are both pretty good looking. Standardized Construction could be later down. But right now, what I really want is just to get the Freeman Happiness and the Loyalty, and Order to Retreat isn't bad. Reinforcement Speed +10% and Army Morale Recovery +5% actually useful right now for my various needs. Retreat can be far from dishonorable, ensuring that all our warriors have a plan of action. In the event of having to fall back will result in a much quicker recovery when they do. Okay, there we go. And as for my government, how are things looking? Our oligarchs are thrilled. That's pretty good. Democrats are neutral. That's what I like to see. And all right, this is basically perfect in terms of the approval rate. The actual approval could obviously be better for the traditionalists especially. but oligarchs are large and in charge as I planned. I just need to get some traditionalist happiness. They want state infrastructure, that's way too expensive, and I'm not changing the terms. Sorry, Dems, it's not happening. Anybody want to trade with me yet? I could allow the sale of my precious metals to make a bit of money, but the happiness from that is quite nice for the extra manpower, which is probably pretty important. So between the two, the money is probably more valuable. Okay, I will allow the sale of my surplus. I need someone to ask me for it, though. Oh, I've had someone ask me for it. All right, who do I want to sell it to? Someone far away would be preferable, so that I'm not enriching my enemies. Okay, Kaduna is sufficiently far away. 0.60 per month. Hello. Not red or green, but I guess hello black. I mean, I am in sub-Saharan Africa, so I suppose that makes sense to say that. All right, we are in the clear. Balance-wise, at least, we're not negative anymore, so I'll take it. All right. Okay, so... Where's my... Why is this not transferring? Okay, it shouldn't matter. We can still win the war now. We cannot win the war. Pardon me? Where is this? Why is this not transferring? Okay. I think I might just let the war continue. I don't have time to go back and go get this right now. I have other wars to fight. So I'm gonna attach you probably. Avoid any funny business. Also, I should set this up now. Okay, yeah, we're fine. Okay. Alright, well, they're going to eventually agree to this deal within a couple months, so I'm just going to leave it alone. My war exhaustion is fine right now. We don't have time for any delays. I guess, let me quickly check and see. Yeah, absolutely not. You're staying right there. Okay, and then on the tick, I'll get my claims and I can get to work. This is like an intensive experience for me. January 1st, 151, the Assembly speaks. Rhetoric and debate have raged for a full year. The Assembly of Timbuktu has reached a final stance on the matter of Ghana. Drawing a sharp breath, the Herald recites, protect the weak of Ghana. Dip rep +4, 10% improve opinion maximum, and war score cost increase. I mostly prefer this because the downsides of the offensive approach are too severe for very hard difficulty, in my opinion. Okay. Senate is still just below the threshold, which I'm actually okay with. This is not that expensive on tyranny to work around with. These guys are slowly getting there. Slowly. Okay. Now we can go ahead and declare the war before any more alliance networks form. This will bring in... So Safari, Dia, and Jene already cleared that they're all going to be fine. Unless any of them hire mercs, in which case I may as well just delete my channel because I'll fail so badly. I'm not going to do that. Even if they hire mercs, I'm going to find a way around it. I guess I can sell buildings and try to bribe the mercs if necessary, but let's just hope that doesn't come to it. Or it doesn't come to that, I should say. Okay, let's do it. Okay, oligarchs are going to like this, so this will actually help our support even further. 50 support? Oh my god, we're almost at 51. Bloodthirsty oligarchs. Their bloodlust cannot be satiated. Okay, now we... Okay, when are we getting there? I may even take another tick to recover in the march over here. Let's see what the travel time is to get down here. Actually, hold on. I think this is actually manageable. It's just the mercs that are low. We're basically good to go on our main levy. And he's the one leading, so I think we can probably get away with this. That sounds good. I'm just making a habit to check as often as I can here. I need more agenda objectives from these guys. Jeez. This is gonna be so hard. Whew, here we go. Okay, that is off the tick. Don't know why I thought it wouldn't be. That's okay, though. I do want to get down here. sooner or later they'll be on board with the plan. I guess I can always walk around the forest to get back to it from the other side if necessary. It might be because they're allied with these guys, and if they call them into the war, that could be a problem, but I don't think that's likely. When I eventually want to conquer this stuff, but it's just not really in my immediate area of attention here. We're above 2 influence per month. It's great. It's not really looking. Could be worse, but it's honestly... Oh boy. Advice ignored. This guy's mad about me ignoring his advice earlier. As long as the oligarchs remain large and in charge, we're good to go. Okay, here we come. 14th of February, we arrive. Alright, I saw them slinking around down there, and that's in the lands of their allies, so that does make sense. 300. This is assault range. If I wanted to assault this, which I may want to do. Ooh, they're actually building a slave estate over here, January. That's a long ways to wait to get this. But I could sell that building, or I guess I could keep the building as well. Could be valuable. Come back to that. Probably want to... I can't... Hold on. I think I can, actually. Let me ask Naguma, how would you feel about access? They would agree to it. Let me get this set up now. Oddly, the Senate doesn't weigh in on this, even though this is a diplomatic action. So I can now slink over to Mopti without having to go through Gene. You can see actually just how much this impassable terrain makes this area more complicated to do wars within, which I kind of appreciate. Okay, so I have 3 sieges ahead of me, assuming that no other wars are declared on me, which... Oh, hold on, these guys agreed to this now. I should probably do this now before any war exhaustion problems arise. Okay, so Gundami Timbuktu to Timbuktu. Let's agree to this deal. 1 AE, completely fine. Let's go for it. Alright. The Sahelian local power of Gundam accepts our generous peace offer. After a protracted conquest, we have finally routed the Gundami armies and laid waste to their lands. During the sacking of their capital, many important prisoners were taken, many of them having previously held important positions in the Gundami assembly. They now languish in our dungeons, awaiting whatever fate we decide to impose upon them. Okay, so I probably want to imprison the leaders in order to gain some money. At the moment, I think that selling off nobles is my best way to make the money needed to pay for my mercenaries to then conquer more lands and get more nobles to sell off. So the early game snowball needs to be powered by blood money, basically. It's kind of unavoidable. So yeah, I think for now we need to go the dark way. Imprison the leaders, let the rest disappear. Their culture's not going to like that, but they can just deal with it. Now, the tyranny gain... Oh, hold on. You know, one thing I should probably figure out before I make any more comments about the long-term plans here is, do the factions react to this? Oh, thank God they don't. Okay, so it would have been so complicated if they did react to it. I do gain tyranny, but I also gain money, so that's obviously pretty good. Hold on. What about gladiatorial debut? I'm not going to bother with that. Let me just sell into slavery. 15 gold for that. That's perfect. All right, get out of there. What about you? 1250. Anyone who's not valuable enough, I'm just going to release. Sell slavery. 7.50 is going to be my threshold, so I'll still do it, but below that I won't. There's some valuable captives. All right, you're going to be released. You're going to be released. This should be everybody. All right, we're now able to fund our war longer. Yay. Okay, and as for our new lands over here, we have a fort now in Gundam. This is a okay city location, but this province actually has a couple good city locations, so no need to... actually, it only really has... Okay, quick sidebar about the province here. Marsh is terrible for cities. I'm not building a marsh city. Forest is terrible for cities. Plains is fine. And farmland is best. So, Gundam, Timbuktu, and Tiabu are going to be my 3 best locations. Egana Gefal is okay, and Bulel is okay as well. Yeah. Do I keep the fort here is the question. I could and then reduce fort maintenance. Although actually reducing fort maintenance may be risky. Let me not reduce fort maintenance right now at least. This expense is going to climb for sure. Gundam will eventually be a city, so I think I keep the fort. It also protects my northwest from the others up here, so I think it's fine to keep that fort. But like over here, like I'll destroy this fort in Safare, for example. I'm not going to keep the city here. Anyways, speaking of this fort here, do I do an assault now? No, I don't. I just said earlier I need to save my strength for these 3 sieges. Okay, that's fine. We're at 50 support. How's the Senate looking? Ooh, oligarchs are losing a little bit of control. Not ideal. Has someone switched their office? No. Are there any oligarchs that I could actually assign who are not terrible? Oligarchs being bad at stuff? Being incompetent? Who would have thought? Right, we have a super good martial oligarch over here. But she's in a content... Oh, this is why I didn't assign her before. Content family. I may actually want to replace someone from the Sankara family with hers to avoid a family becoming grateful. That's all the researcher families. Yeah. Let me replace this guy with her to give the oligarchs a little bit of a boost, power base wise. Okay. Very mild, but this kind of min-maxing is going to help in the long run. Any other oligarch characters I can... Not the family head. Any other oligarchs? You're terrible. You're pretty bad. Nope. 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 Wow, okay. Yikes. Alright, I picked the wrong party to back. Alright, maybe after the election. I don't know what's going to happen on January 1st, because I don't have any characters that are allowed to be Archon under these rules. Will the game, like, break? I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. If you're watching this video, the game did not break at least, so that is a good thing for you to know if you're watching this. You can be assured that something happened that didn't destroy the game. Anyways, speaking of things being destroyed, let's continue with our war. Oh my god, yes. Scholar of the Divine. This is exactly what I need with the scheme influence. Wagway Banwu has, by all accounts, remained a Scholar of the Divine man for much of his life. It caused some embarrassment, therefore, when he was discovered extorting a local temple to an egregiously unreasonable degree. Before reprimanding Wagway, it must be said that it would be expeditious to our efforts to influence him if we were to brush this under the table. Okay, so I can gain 10 corruption, or he can lose 5 loyalty, which does affect my PI gain very slightly, but I gain 12 PI if I do that. 10 corruption is completely out of the question for the ruler, so unless this guy was about to leave office like tomorrow, I would maybe do it then, but with 4 years left to go, I just don't think it's worth it. Let's go ahead and grab a 12 PI from that. A slap on the wrist ought to suffice. Okay, we are climbing our way towards the next goal, which is to grab Divine Sacrifice as soon as possible. We're nearly at 51 support, not quite there. The next war declaration will bring us up high enough to get it though, so we'll have to rely on that to win us the day, as it were. Please show me a breach. I really love a breach. I didn't get it that time. Also, what's our attrition rate? Good. Okay. I guess the delay lets the slave estate finish, which I'm okay with, so I'm not gonna press it. Breach. No. Shoot. What's going on down here? Segi was fighting San. Okay. Slow going. definitely pretty slow going. Any trades for me? Nope. Now, the main reason I'm keeping fort maintenance going is in case someone attacks me unexpectedly, they can't just barrel into my land with no defenses. I want to give myself time to react, given it takes months to move around these slow marshes. Yeah, building a road through here will speed things up a lot in the future, but for now we have to trudge through the marshes very, very slowly. No sign of the enemy, so they're definitely not feeling confident enough to attack me, so that's good. Alright, a breach would solve all of my problems and make my dreams come true. Imperator Rome. Nope. Maybe this time. Like a degenerate gambler. This time I'll get a breach. On this roll of the siege timer, I'll get a breach. It's never gonna happen. At least not consistently. I can only hope. More coffee is called for as I wait for my breach luck to improve. Please. Please. Supply shortage. I'll take it. Could be worse. Could be worse. At least my PI is growing, and my, yeah, well, that's basically the one thing. Ooh. Speaking of the PI growing, this is the same event I just had a moment ago, so I'm not going to read it again. Slap on the wrist ought to suffice. Whew. 12 PI. We're so close. So close. one more tick, and we can get our pig stabbed and our stability raised a lot faster. Not only will higher stability make my entire country way, way, way less unstable. I mean, obviously that's what it does. Stability has an enormous impact on population happiness. It's also going to make the traditionalists happy because they really care about stability. So having positive stability will give the traditionalists upward trend, which will be very good. Maybe I should do state infrastructure instead. No, stability is too important. I can't leave stability unattended to, because stability is also going with its positivity to help with my is it 80? Which one is it? No, 80 affects stability, that's right. And stability is just good in general. It's good to have a bit more stability, that's for sure. Okay. I can now... Oh, that's not good. I'm managing to do an assault just because I've run out of food now. It's a bit of a problem. I do have plenty of manpower, but I can't easily get it into the army that quickly. Okay. First things first. Every month there's some new problem afflicting me in this campaign. This is going to be so fun. Alright. I know it sounds like I'm saying it sarcastically, but I genuinely am excited to play a challenging Imperator Rome campaign, and this is definitely meeting that standard. Alright, Divine Sacrifice. Oh, so much PI, but this is desperately needed to get my stability under control. Getting the abolish assemblies early on was painful, but it was an important part of my strategy to get things rolling in the way they need to get going. Okay, if I were to assault this and then back up to Bangu, I can then recover my food, but I think my better bet is just to eat the attrition and just get out of this marsh as soon as possible. So, let's see. Oh, this is actually 2 years away, not 1 year away, so I guess I've waited this long, but I don't know if I can justify that. Do I give it one more tick or do I assault immediately? To be honest, I think I assault immediately. It had enough time to give me a breach and it didn't, so. Okay, sacking of Safari. Now, this location here is a bozo location, and it's low on population. So, Salma Tia Labelle has led his men to glorious victory during the siege of Safari. The enemy flee in disgrace, and all that is left is to decide on how to treat the residents within. Needless to say, these spoils of war like that caused those back in Timbuktu to admire Salma greatly, but leaving such wealth in the hands of one man could cause problems in the future. Let the looting be gentle. Okay. We should have more than enough strength to keep the warpath going, and we're going to head straight for... Huh? Pardon me. Oh, the fort coverage. Right. I forgot about how fort coverage works. Okay, yeah, we have to go through the fort coverage. Unless I got access through these guys too, which I am tempted to do to get to Timbuktu first, but I guess I can just go straight to Jene. Is there any... Okay, they didn't lower their garrison. Okay. Well, Jene awaits in the plains at least, so we're going to have a bit more supply limit to work with. My total supply limit needs here. I wish I could see. It's 9 for them. Is that, no, that's 9 collectively, I think. I hope. We'll see. Alright. Jene awaits. We need ourselves some diplomatic range to start trading with more people, but not to be forgotten for a little while. Each of these tiles is like a month. Oh, hold on. Yeah, we're going to miss these guys. That's okay, actually. They have to come back and attack me if they want to retrieve their tile, but they're not going to be able to. I have more than enough strength, even with some of the damage I took. Okay, I could go and attack them now. I don't think there's any need to. I can just get to them later. Jene is what we have to deal with next. I could just assault it. I could just... let me... Hold on. Let me let my morale recover. We're also about to run out of food on the mercs as well. Not ideal. Okay, we should be okay out here, out of the marsh. Marsh is a lot less supply limit than plains. Let's let our morale recover and then take stock of what we want to do. I don't want to be too hasty. But can I leverage these same mercs for another war afterwards? Probably yes. But I don't want to push myself beyond what I can pull off right now. I just need the warpath to continue as far as I can push it. Let's wait for the 1st of January and take stock of things. Please give me a breach. This would solve all my problems. No, supply shortage. I'll take a supply shortage. I'm not going to be greedy about that. Okay, still below 51, but we're nearly there. We're gonna get to 51, and at the moment, my approval trends are very good to keep me in the money. Okay, we have someone who's reached 35, thankfully. I don't know what's gonna happen with the co-Archon arrangement without someone else who's 35. Maybe it doesn't need to be. Maybe the co-Archon doesn't need to be 35, but this guy will become the next Archon because no one else is allowed to be. It looks like this is just some guy. He's terrible, and he's a traditionalist. Oh my god. I think I'd rather have Anarchy than have this guy be the Archon, but okay. Maybe someone else will sort of come of age for the Archonship in the meantime. We've got a couple of years left, we'll see. I guess while I have the 9 Martial Archon, I should like be as warlike as possible in this first term to take full advantage of it. I think that's probably the way I need to approach this. So the warpath will continue, which means trying to preserve the mercenary strength as much as possible, which means probably not doing an assault. I can squeeze one more war and possibly one war in the beginning of a second war if I am attacking with the 9 Martial to do the assault. Maybe. Well, we'll have to see. It's not going to be easy. Nothing in this campaign is going to be easy, especially not early on. Alright, if I could get a breach right now, I would... Okay, I guess I won't. Not sure what I was going to say that I would do, but I would have done something of note to celebrate such a momentous occurrence. Alright, nearly at 51. Very good. And once we get to, I think, 11, I can then change... No, actually it's 9, so next month I can change this. Do I even want to change it? I probably do. Come back to that next month. Disagreement on the highest level. Jaruru Chialabele, my co-Archon, a man of sound reputation, and Pataragombe Bulsa, a nobleman of great virtue, have recently started to spar furiously whilst attending the assembly. Such behavior is unbecoming of these people of stature. However, we have been called upon to take a side in the latest conflict. I'm going to probably support my co-Archon. This is my physician. Oh, his loyalty does actually result in PI gain. Oh, you know what? I think I'd rather gain the popularity from this. That's probably the better option. Because I don't want to reduce the loyalty on a PI producer, but I also don't want to reduce the loyalty on my possibly dubiously loyal co-Archon. I've got a couple more years with him still. Tell them to stop bickering. This was the best of both. This is the least bad of the options, basically. And I get some popularity, which doesn't hurt. Food shortage, that's not a breach, but I guess it's not terrible. With this fort defense, I'm a bit uncomfortable about doing an assault if I plan to use this army for more than one more assault. So let's keep it going. Okay. Now, let's see. We do have some multiculturalism. I think I probably want to switch over to cultural assimilation. Yeah, everyone should be the same religion. But I need to start converting these guys to be bozos. Okay. The cycle can see how things are looking in these new areas. Pop info. Okay. Let's see. Cultural assimilation. Okay. I could also spend a little bit of money. I think we'll actually do this. Let me move some of these pops into my other tiles so that they're all assimilating at the same time. This is going to be a little expensive, but I think it's worth it to speed up the assimilation rate, as having a monocultural core will be really, really good for getting my 4 cohorts by the next time I need them. So let me let's see. We actually just need to move 3 over. Let me move over a Sonic from Keeley. That's 5. And then here, we'll move over a Sonic from Chiabuo. And then here, we'll move over a Sonic from... Actually, hold on. Oh yeah, we got plenty up there. Okay, that's fine. Okay, this way, every tile will be doing some assimilation at the same time, as it should be for maximum efficiency. We're also above 51 support. That's excellent. That's one less problem off my plate for now. I'm sure it's not going to stay there for too long. If this ends up being our next Archon, we're going to have some serious problems, but I'll worry about that when we get to it. Water shortage, alright, that's pretty good. Some good rolls on the siege progression, but they could be gooder. And I'd like a certain thing that rhymes with schmeech. It also rhymes with bleach. It also rhymes with greech. It also rhymes with beach. It also rhymes with... Oh, Defender's Dessert. Please, I beg of you. Alright, well, I may not be able to squeeze in a second war after this war is done. I can definitely squeeze in one more war, but with this siege luck, we're going to be pushing it, even to get a second war in, before I get my terrible next ruler with the Bad Marshal. Oh, supply shortage again. Oh. We're also out of food now, so problems are getting worse and worse. Salma. With Salma, one is never in any doubt about what he is thinking. Some might call this a virtue, others a flaw. Plain speaking. Okay, what is that doing for him? Tribal Great Wonder Construction, plus 5%, and as the ruler, Dip Rep, plus 3. Yeah, I'll take it. There are times when matters are just exactly what they seem. For Salma, that is all the time. Let me wait for the tick, then I'll see if I can trade with someone now, because of his famous plain speaking abilities. Nope. Okay. if we dip below 2k from attrition, we're going to start having serious problems because we won't be able to siege anything. And that may become a problem as we go. Now, I can recover my own strength from my manpower, but the mercenaries are not going to live forever here. And I can't take them away because they, and I can't split them either, because otherwise I lose the siege. I need to finish the siege soon, kill this army, which is also seemingly starving to death, and then go back to my territory to recover for a couple months before we move on to Dia, unfortunately. It's going to delay things, but it has to be done. Right, stability is climbing up, that's great. Great. Please, please. Oh my god. I'll take Defender's Dessert, I'm not going to complain. I'll take Defender's Dessert any day of the week. Okay. Politically speaking, things are under control, thanks to our very, very strong oligarch approval. Now, when this election happens, everything's going to fall apart, which I'm very worried about, because the least happy, second weakest faction, also we won the siege, oh my god, finally, will take over with this loser guy with no stats. We'll worry about that later, right? I can't worry about this right now. I'm going to lose my mind if I try to think about how to fix this. The sacking of Jenne. Salma Chielabele has led his men to glorious victory during the siege of Jenne. The enemy flee in disgrace, and all that is left is to decide on how to treat the residents within. Needless to say, these spoils of war are likely to cause those back in Timbuktu to admire Salma greatly, but living such wealth in the hands of a man could cause problems in the future. Okay, so this is a bozo location, which means it is a gentle looting. Alright, now before we lose any more people to starvation, go kill these guys in a stack wipe. Nice and quick. Okay. I sure hope this is a stack wipe. If not, I'm gonna lose my mind. 7 September. Okay. Come on. Alright, there it is. Okay, we need to go get some more food, but first I'm gonna... Actually, I can leave someone to grab this. Let me leave behind... Not you. Let me... I can barely leave anyone behind. Alright, let me leave behind the light infantry. You stay here. You follow the cav. And then you bring them back to Bangu to recover your food. Okay, here's the question. Do I actually just go straight to Dia and assault it immediately? Is that a better approach than going back to Bangu, which will take about half a year of travel likely, and then recovering food in the marsh, which isn't ideal? I could go all the way around to the forest of Kluga, or I could go further in to avoid the marshland. Honestly, I think I may just want to go straight for Dia, to be completely honest. This is going to finish around the time the Dia siege likely finishes, or probably before it, honestly, so I think I will get my slave estate that I can either keep or destroy. I think I just need to... The numbers are getting dire. We're also going to die of... We're going to lose the strength needed to siege without food. Okay, I can't hold off. We need to go back and, if anything, just recover our manpower. Yeah, it can't be avoided. These guys will follow soon. Yeah, pretty bad situation, but I need to get back to my own territory. Once I get forced march, my life will be far easier. Alright. Now we just, march back to our lands and try to recover as best we can. We got plenty of manpower to work with, at least. So, it's also below our max. Oh, hold on. Do we recover in occupied lands? I guess we do. I haven't played this game in so long, I don't know how anything works anymore. Okay, we don't recover our... Oh, we do recover our food. Oh my god. Alright. Christmas is saved. We can recover in Jenne. I will take it. I thought I'd have to go back to my marshes, but thankfully the Jenneans will do it for me. We can't do reorganization. That's what I was thinking about, but we can recover food and manpower. I will take it. Let's stand here for a bit and get back into business before we move on to Dia. Give it maybe one more tick. There we go when we assault. Well, I mean, it'll take a while to get over there, so maybe I do give it one more tick. Recovery tick. Oh, there it goes. Maybe we give it one more tick, just to be on the safe side. I've already waited, so let me give it the tick, and then I'll move. If I move during the month, then I've wasted the days in the month after the tick that I could have been moving. So, actually, I just need to be in the province for the tick, or in the tile for the tick. So, yeah, let me wait for the December tick in this tile. Actually, and then we'll get the December tick in this tile again, technically, so this is perfect. Timed it just right. Alright. What am I saving my PI for now? Possibly to do the next Divine Sacrifice. Oh my god. Well, that's with the recent Divine Sacrifices modifier applied. So, I think I'm saving it now to get an investment to get happiness from the traditionalists. Or to change a law. Actually, I don't really want to change off Citizen Militia. Not changing this. I can't change any other laws. Okay. I guess I just save it. Let me think about this. Change an idea? No. I think I just need to save my PI for any number of reasons. I mean, to get the next 5-year cooldown of Divine Sacrifices for sure, though, so don't want to let that slip away in any sense. Okay, we're good to go on our recovery, I think. We finally finish this war. In fact, with this recovery, okay, there's that thing done. Let me actually switch it. Or hold on, not you. Let me send these guys to quickly go and grab that. I have to move in a weird way, but that's fine. Now that the thing is done, we may as well grab it. Okay. This guy will arrive in just a moment. And then, if I get a breach, I'll assault immediately once these guys arrive back. If I don't get a breach, I will probably wait until I get a breach, or if I win, just the slow way. I would like to squeeze one more Warren during this this regime cycle. Come on, please. Supply shortage. At least it's not status quo or disease outbreak. I will take it. Senate support is looking fairly secure, at least for now. We'll see after the election how things are looking. It's not going to be looking too good, but I'll see what I can do about that. Oh. Hold on. I think that was a water shortage. Yeah, that was a water shortage. Scholar of the Divine. Okay, we've seen this event a few times now. Let's get it. Let's continue slapping those wrists. Just bring it over. Yeah. Get the wrist slapped. Give me that 12. Alright. Reading the entrails, we get abruptly. On behalf of the pious Wati Chelebele, which is our censor, has come to us indicating that the priests and the holy ones involved in tending to the faithful are finding the long hours of observance particularly taxing. He proposes in return for the support of the senators he can sway, we institute a policy of shortening working hours for priests. Ooh, this is just free approval in exchange for more religious tech investment costs. That's completely fine. I can just lose money, or... Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? Yes, please. Alright, traditionalists, look at me. I'm looking out for you on occasion when offered the chance to do so for no cost. We take care of the faithful. 55 support, unfathomable levels of Senate support, universal acclaim. Love it. Alright. We also occupied Hamada. Let's bring you guys back in and get this thing sieged down. The water shortage was pretty lucky. I'm pretty happy with that, obviously. What I was looking at a moment ago was this. These guys are fighting these guys here. Is this just... Oh, this is a double... These guys are also fighting Ghana over here. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Defender's Dessert. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm feeling lucky about this siege. I'm going to hold off on Assault unless I get a Breach, and let this thing play out naturally. This is all part of the... Oh, this is in the Gene region. I don't really want to take this land. I might take it to sell the nobles and then sell the land to someone else so I don't hold land in Gene. Maybe. I'll have to think about this. That being said, it is going to be Bozo land, and I do care about that. So I think I do keep it, and I assign a governor. Which means actually having someone be a governor, which... a bit more thinking, but I can do that. That's what I'm here to do, at least. Okay. No trade for me. Tradeless Timbuktu, the strategy no one thought I'd employ. But it's just a matter of what I can and can't do right now. Food shortage. It's a good roll. It's not a breach, but it's a good roll. I prefer a breach, but I'll take a food shortage if needed. I think I just bank my PI for now. I'm scared of running out of PI for future purposes, so... Plus, I may be forced by someone to change a law. I need PI for you to change that. Sacking of DI. Alright, that was a pretty solid... 171 days is pretty okay in vanilla. Alright. This is Bozo Town. It's a pretty big Bozo Town, so we're going to be gentle with Dia. Salma Dialabelle has led his men to glorious victory during the siege of Dia. The enemy fleeing disgrace, and all that is left is to decide on how to treat the residents within. Needless to say, these spoils of war like the cause back in Timbuktu to admire Salma greatly, but leaving such wealth in the hands of one man could cause problems in the future. Let the looting be gentle. 18 gold. Okay. Very good. We got our tick as well. That is the war concluded, and all of this beautiful Bozo land under our new ownership. Let's get the map mode fixed there. There we go. Okay. This is all Bozo land, yes. This is going to be a little awkward to administer because it's going to be split into two regions, but more Bozos means more levy strength. Although some of it's going to be in the new governorship, which is going to be awkward, but I will work around this. 6 AE for this. It is what it is. I do have AE decay right now, but it's pretty small. Let's go for it. Plus 3 sets of nobles to sell, which means I can keep paying for these mercs, or perhaps even buy new mercs. Alrighty, let's do it. Alright. The Sahelian local power of Safare accepts her generous peace offer. Safarian Timbuktu to Timbuktu, Dian Timbuktu to Timbuktu, Dian Jene to Timbuktu, Janaean Jene to Timbuktu, and Janaean Kura to Timbuktu. Alright. We are going to be imprisoning everybody. And our borders have expanded quite nicely. Now, we need to do a little bit of recovery, but I may also want to lowland re-raise. I could re-raise. It would probably be quite a long wait, though, so I'm a bit hesitant to re-raise the main army right now, because I need my main guy in charge to avoid mercs or some other character making bad sacking decisions. So I think with just one more unit on re-raise, I keep the army going a bit longer. I think we can withstand a little bit of war exhaustion. Alright, can I reach anybody else yet? No, not yet. Maybe on the tick. As for the new governor, well, first, let me actually take a look at my population. We're at 84 pops, including an additional... Now we're at 49 Bedaic Bozos and 20 Sigwick Bozos. Okay, so actually, good that I have PI available, because I will need to change all these policies in a moment. As for the new governor in Gene, at the moment, Marshall's not as important as Finesse, so this guy here, although this would make a great family, so maybe not. This lady here looks okay as well. So Devout, that's Loyalty. Hold on. No, she's the right character happiness. Assertive. Province Commerce, okay. Yeah, Salemato looks promising. I don't want to have any grateful families right now, because that would make the Democrats really unhappy. That being said, well, they're gaining a little bit of control back. I need to be a little careful about this. They also like... No, they dislike my tyranny. The oligarchs like my tyranny. Okay. I think avoiding grateful families is still better in the long run. And this character is devout, which means she's going to be a bit more loyal. She is a traditionalist, but I think that's probably okay. 8 finesse, 3 martial. Alright. Salemata, you are now... Hold on. Yeah, you are now the governor. 44. That's manageable. Okay, so... As for this territory, we've got 2 new provinces to work with here. We've got the Kura province, which I only have 1 tile in. For now, it's actually entirely bozo, so I'm just going to leave it as acquisition of wealth for now. That's fine. As for the Gene province, it moved the capital over to Dia, which is better than the Gene tile. The Gene tile is plains with no river, so this is not going to be a city location long term. So I'm going to go ahead and destroy that fortress. No need for that. The marsh here has nothing. We'll look at this in a moment. Dia, the farmland, is a good city location. Farmland on river. I'm probably going to keep the fort here and make this a city long term. It may also stay... In fact, I think it is actually the single good tile in the province. Yeah, honestly it is. So this will be the province's capital city long term. It's a bit far away from my core, but the impassable terrain makes the fort coverage here actually a bit better than it looks. So Dia will remain a city, or it will become a city in the future, or remain the capital long term. The game will probably move the capital around because this game does that, but we will keep it as is. As for the policy here, everyone's bozo, which means monthly civ change is probably actually fine. I'm not going to change that. Over here, we're already doing the assimilation strategy. In terms of the new territories, we've got the slave estate here. Ooh, this is a gold swamp? Okay. Alright, I need a mine here for the gold, so... I mean, slave estate's not the worst thing for a gold tile, but a mine is better. Let me destroy the slave estate. That's free 40 bucks for 40 gold pieces that I wouldn't have had if I... What is this? Glass? What are these marsh tiles with these crazy resources? We've got the dyes swamp, we got the glass swamp, the gold swamp. Oh my god, alright. Yeah, this glass swamp is not going to be a fort location, that's for sure. Yep, get out of here. It's not the worst location for a fort, but I don't need the extra fort maintenance. We're even in the green now, at least with our damaged mercenary force. Anybody... Okay, we're actually back to the gold surplus because of the extra copy of gold, but I will probably still try to sell it if I can for even more money. Okay. At this point, do I even keep fort maintenance on? I think I probably do, just to be on the safe side, but we're getting close to being able to mess around with that. As for the next target, I think what I want to do is attack Tondiaru next. Actually, let me first check. Are they under siege? No. What about these guys? No. Okay. I can attack both of them, one after the other. Let's declare war on these guys, I think immediately, and just send my army straight north right away and keep the pressure going. While I have the 9 Martial on my current Archon, I'm using every point of it as much as I can to consolidate power in my core as much as I can. Okay, so let's declare war on Tondiaru to take Timbuktu. Oligarchs also like it, so that's pretty good. This is buying me a lot of Senate support that I can keep as I advance into the next reign. Alright, up you go. Okay, I'm just going to save my PI for now. July. Oh, these guys are coming, but I'm going to get there first. That's fine. I'm barely going to get there first, actually. Could have been a problem. but fortunately it was not. I think... Do I assault this? I've got more manpower I can recover with. I think I do assault. I think I want to push this a little bit here. I want to fight these guys, and then I want to attack Karango afterwards. These guys should be completely free. In fact... No, they got their garrison on full. Who else can I go for? Naguma has bozos, as do Hounduo. And do I have claims on them? I do have claims on them. Okay. Oh, you know, let me cancel my access with them now before I forget. Try to declare war on them preemptively. Okay. These would probably be more efficient wars for more bozos, but I'm here now, so I want to just go. Speed is the name of the game here. In fact, speaking of speed, can I do 2 assaults back to back? I think if I hire fresh mercs, I can. Am I that? No, they're all going to be more martial than my character. But if I look further, I can find lower martial mercs. All right. Anyone else at 8? God, this guy's so far away. I think I have to keep working with just what I have here. But I think I do want to assault this. Let me assault it now. This is so expensive. Alright, let me sell the gold to these guys over here. This was very, very expensive to assault. Sacking of Ton Diaru. Alright. Salma Bele has led his men to glorious victory during the siege of Ton Diaru. The enemy fleeing disgrace, and all that is left is to decide on how to treat the residents within. Needless to say, these spoils of war like the cause those back in Timbuktu to admire Salma greatly, but leaving such wealth in the hands of one man could cause problems in the future. Alright, we're going to let the looting be gentle, because this is a bozo location. And then, I'm going to... Oh, these are all marsh as well. Let me come back to farmland. Is that the tick? It'll count for the tick while we're here anyways. And then just recover as much as I can, and then we'll attack Karango. I wanted to get here before Ghana got here, at least. Unless they attack Karango, which I don't think they will. Also, I neglected to do this. Let me make sure I do this now. Sell these guys off. Oh boy. Alright. What do we have here? Some good deals for me. Set this. Lots of money to work with. Very good. Tyranny's raising, but I think I can handle it so far. Now that my Senate support is under control, I think we're going to be in the clear. Tyranny-wise. And that should be everybody. No, it needs to be you. That is everybody. Perfect. Okay. This will be expensive, but I need the recovery as fast as possible. So for peace, I will be taking this and uniting the 2 sides of my land. Alright, Ton Diaru, Timbuktu to Timbuktu. Alright. After this before, prison their leaders. Salma also has maxed out popularity right now, which is perfect. Actually, now that I think about it, I can just recover in the forest. In fact, I can probably recover in the marsh, in all honesty. I'm being a little too careful. If they're on the tick, not ideal. Alright, you know what? Since I'm getting there on the tick anyways, let's recover in the farmland, just to be on the safe side. Can I reach anybody yet? Nope. And I can also do this. That's just a glitch. Alright, we are rolling in money, Timbuktu style. Pretty good. Pretty good. These guys are leaving dejected. Sucks to suck. You snooze, you lose. Alright. Now, let's get up here and do another month of recovery with reorganization turned on to try to get as much as we can before we go to war with these guys and get their little exclave. Hold on, what do we have here? We have a surplus of wood now. Alright, I don't need ship recruit speed, that's for sure. Alright, let's trade with these guys over here. More money in the bank. Very good. Also, this fort I should have destroyed when I first got it. That was a small mistake. Let's destroy it now. What do we have up here? Anything? We have a provincial legation. Okay. Not actually necessary up here. Well, hold on. You know, it actually is necessary up here. At least it's not bad up here. Extra assimilation speed up here. I think I'll keep the legation because this is a tile that is entirely non-bozo. So, good on the AI for building that, if that was not there already. That was a smart build by them, and I'll keep it, you know? Let's recover for one tick, and then take stock of things. Tribal proposition. Our tribal neighbor Esakane has started investing a lot of their treasury into opening up the borders between our nations. Hopefully this will prove beneficial for us as well, though their tribesmen are somewhat more unruly than we are used to. We should keep Esakane in mind, as they can prove good friends in the future as well. Surely only good things can come from this. Alright, about 7 gold, I guess I'll take it, and 20 opinion from them, and also my tile up here gains local tax and local population happiness reduction for 10 years. Okay, that's fine. Alright. I think we're good to go ahead and do, numbers-wise, we're really in bad shape. The issue is, in an assault against Karango, if I go below 2k, the assault will be called off, so I actually need to continue recovering and draining my own power. At this point, I'm expecting to basically spend the next 5-year period in peacetime, unless I'm declared upon, and I have to raise my levy as an emergency. I can just hire mercs. I mean, if in an emergency, I can, like, there's a lot of high marshal mega chads just standing around with giant armies nearby, so I'm pretty safe, honestly, if someone attacks me. So let's drain the manpower, just get as much as we can done now. Speaking of which, okay, so our augur is also now 35. Let me actually take a look and see. Is anybody else? Huh? Oh, that's the general. Own nation, not power base, sort by age. Okay, so this guy is now 36. Okay, we're gonna have a couple more people turn 35, thankfully. And I think I want to interfere in this election. I can't. Oh boy. So this is the family head that I was dealing with earlier. 4042. He's an oligarch. I actually wouldn't mind keeping the oligarchs in power. They're really, really strong right now. And I don't mind noble. I mean, I don't really have any nobles right now, and I'm not building anything. Really what I benefit the most from right now is the Democrats with the traditionalists for their modifiers, but oligarchs are large and in charge, so I don't need to really mess with that. I think I allow this guy to actually become the next Archon. You can't see. Hold on, what's his health? Oh, he's healthy. Okay. Bad health. Maybe he's not like 100% healthy. I'm okay with this guy becoming the next Archon. I mean, not because of his stats, which are terrible. Well, we're gonna get, assuming the Augur does become the next co-Archon, we're gonna get some good zeal from him. But other than that, it's gonna be pretty bad. But I can survive 5 years with this guy, and it keeps the oligarchs in charge, which I care about. It doesn't disrupt my Senate structure too much. Okay. I think I'm okay, and let's see if I need to nudge it back to be like that as time goes on here. Still no trade available for me. All right, let's just drain the manpower, I suppose. Are the mercs actually gaining strength? I don't think they are. Let's stop them reorganizing, because that's just costing me more money unnecessarily. Give it one more tick, and then I think we go in for the assault. I think we should be able to keep above 2k with the assault, even if it's a really bad RNG assault. I guess having said that, let me see in a moment whether these guys have picked up an ally and make my life a lot more complicated. This didn't actually, it's going to calculate in a few more days. These guys have not picked up an ally. Okay, you know what? Let's go in. Declare war, take Timbuktu. Alright. Good. I don't think they're gonna even have one cohort available, so it should be fairly safe. So just walk right in. Oh my god, yes. Oh, these guys really are bozos. Look at this. They didn't raise their fort strength. Okay, well, never mind. Oh my gosh. City, state, I forgot. 20% defensiveness. Oh, that's gonna be so painful. Okay, let's just, I mean, if they had their garrison paid for, I'd be sitting here for 5 years. Let's just get this over with. Order the assault. Against 250, we're gonna scrape high, but it's closer than it should have been. The sacking of Karango. Salma Tielabele has led his men to glorious victory during the siege of Karango. The enemy flee in disgrace, and all that is left is to decide on how to treat the residents within. Needless to say, these spoils of war like that cause us back in Timbuktu to admire Salma greatly, but leaving such wealth in the hands of one man could cause problems in the future. Let the looting be gentle. Okay, now, with my remaining strength, do I squeeze in one more war? I kind of want to. And a good target might be someone like Shoma. Actually, they bring in the larger Nampalari, so maybe not. So it would be more bozos, but I also want to clean up more of the region that I'm actually in. In terms of my mission, by the way, this requires me to fight Kabara. Ooh, 15 pops assimilated. That would be quite good, actually. I think I should probably prioritize that. This is not happening soon. This is not happening soon. Let me attack Kabara next. Ooh, hold on. Who are they with? They bring in Bori and Taraka. That's a pretty large war for my battered remaining army. But numbers-wise, we're looking at one? Yeah, okay. Unless they've integrated, which I can't imagine they've pulled off in 4 years. One cohort. One cohort, and one or two cohorts, maybe two cohorts, against the equivalent of let's see, the equivalent of 5 cohorts, about. I'll also gain about another cohort's worth of strength on the way over there from recovery. But then again, the other issue is attrition and running out of food will start to cut into my numbers. I'm going to run out of manpower. And this war will take more than 1 year, which means I'm going to go into my next reign with much less martial, which means the Merc leader will take over the army as well, because my next ruler is going to have less than less than 9 martial. So I'd love to get bad really quick, but I don't know if this is feasible while these guys are in the defensive league. This may have to wait for 5 years, which is a shame. Is there a softer target that I can attack more easily? Okay, Houndwo is a Bozo location. So is Naguma. Houndwo also opens up another front to fight against this defensive league, so I think I will attack Houndwo with my remaining year. Let's make our way over. Let's see. Actually, no, hold on. Let me first finish the war. Gimme, gimme. Oh, I have to wait a few more days. Okay, well, so on the 31st, we can hit recovery and then get the recovery in our own territory for the one next day for the monthly tick. That'll be good. Okay, super peace. I will take this. Karangi, Timbuktu to Timbuktu. Alright. Here's the leaders. Peace is achieved, and now we can sneak in Rework for one single tick. Can't reach anybody yet. Oh. Alright, and then imprisoned. Go through the motions. Perfect. Plenty of money on hand. Good for our peacetime reign that we're about to have. And then we'll let a day go by. January 1st, 154. I didn't need to actually recover on the mercs. That was a small mistake. You allow attachment, you follow, and you bring everybody over here. It's going to take a long time to make this move. A couple months, but we can assault and then close things out. And we'll be good to go. Alright, keep the morale up. If these guys pick up an ally in the meantime, could be a problem, but I want to get there before somebody else gets to them, particularly someone in this defensive league. That defensive league will have to wait for the next 5-year tick, or the next 5-year reign, assuming we can get a high martial successor. More people will turn 35 at least, so that'll help a little bit. Yeah, let's keep the oligarchs in charge. I don't want to mess up my Senate support right now. Not that well, do I need Senate support if I'm just focusing on internal matters? I guess I don't technically need that. I guess because we've got a year to go, I have time to possibly do some meddling. I need a succession support tooltip to figure this out. All right, let me calculate this on the fly here. So succession support is going to be popularity, statesmanship, and family prestige. And what I really need is just a different oligarch character who's better than this. But as I saw earlier, all of the oligarchs are pretty bad at everything. Could my researcher family head become the new guy? This guy would be pretty good. He's got a lot of power base. If I were to... It's because of family head, that's why he has so much power base. I can't get rid of that part of him. I could bring him to trial. It wouldn't be very successful, and it would likely not succeed. I can't smear him, he doesn't have any popularity. I could rival him and try to assassinate him, but then I'm losing my scheme influence, which could be a problem. I don't think I have enough tools right now to prevent this guy, unless some other person randomly gets more succession support than him. Yeah. Unfortunately, I guess I could also... I can also do one of these actions, can't I? This could be a good way to use my PI. State religion happiness could be really good. Doing this to get some approval with the traditionalists could also be quite strong. I have enough Senate support that I can safely start lowering approval for other bonuses. Getting the monthly approval ticking with them could be quite good. They have a long ways to go. I can survive losing some oligarch approval for sure. That being said, aside from the co-archon being a traditionalist at this rate, they're not likely to gain a lot more control unless I help them gain control. Although this guy losing his archon position will reduce the oligarch control a little bit, but mostly his power is coming from his capital region size. Oh yeah, so once this guy's no longer the governor, that'll make a big difference. Now my other governor, if I remember correctly, she's a traditionalist, okay. So, let's see. Okay. Pop conversion speed for now is okay. 5 years of this. Let me spend the PI on this, I think. Well, hold on. What's my cooldown right now? Yeah, it's 10 years, that's right. 59. I can risk this. Although I also want to get a holy site in my capital. Ooh, you know what? I can afford this right now. I think I want to snag... There's so few deities to work with. I want to snag one of the holy sites, and I do have the PI for this right now. I think I should do this. Okay, so this will give Timbuktu 10% local tax, 1 more city building slot, and 5% migration attraction. And I can snag up the bonus for one of these immediately. Now, the Jackal feels like the appropriate god for Timbuktu, but I feel like I'm going to be going for the Great Serpent for quite a while in the early game. That being said, I think I'm going to have the Levy strength to... Plus I have the mercenary strength available. I mean, with all these mercenary stacks standing around, I can focus on gaining the money to just constantly hire mercs. But that being said, the other problem is then I rely on having a high martial character to avoid the mercs sacking when I don't want them to. So it presents the problem once again. I think morale of armies is still pretty important, but at this rate, 5 cohorts and then 1 from Gene, and this can improve as well as we grow further. I think in the long term, I will eventually switch over to Jackal over Great Serpent. I think I grabbed the Jackal shrine, because ultimately I would rather have the economic bonuses in Timbuktu. I'm playing the long game here, even though getting the additional morale armies or even the state religion happiness could be quite strong. I want to secure the economic bonuses of the Jackal in the long term. So let's go ahead and build a shrine to the Jackal in Timbuktu. There it is. We can also now, actually we've automatically put the treasures in there. We have the pop simulation bonus, the statue of the Jackal in the Temple of the Jackal, that makes sense. And the treasury of Timbuktu is there as well. Very nice. We also have one more item as well, the Helm of Laws. Okay, a battered copper helmet worn by the lawgivers of the ancient tribes, currently in Dia. Okay. We could build another shrine elsewhere, but I think for now, let's not go crazy. Alright. This has been a really fun opening. This is so complex to navigate all the different mechanics going on, but I am happy with how things are going so far. Okay, let's pause here and reorganize on the marsh. It's a bit awkward, but we're within our supply limit, it looks like, so let's drain our manpower as much as we can, just to ensure we can get the assault in, no problem. We've got dyes to sell? Okay. Ooh, that's right. Also, I should have the support. I neglected to do so. There we go. We can sell our dyes to Zuru. That works. Okay. We actually have our entire army now, so that's this will have to do. Hopefully these guys are not expecting us to show up. Okay, Okay, they are at partial garrison, so hopefully they don't change it super soon. We may have problems if they do, but I think with 3k we should be in the clear. Yeah, our mercs are actually recovering very slowly, but not fast enough to make a big difference. Alright, I think I made the right call getting the Jackal. In the long term, this will be better than the morale bonus, but just for now, it's not going to feel quite as helpful. Plus, it's nice to secure it so that nobody else gets it before we do. We'll eventually conquer all of the territory of our core religion and then be the single person following it, so we will get there eventually. Okay, here we go. Declare war, take quota. Oligarchs are on board. Alright, nice high Senate approval to progress to the next term with. 3rd of April, here we come. Will they raise? I guess not. Okay. Alright, they did get 1 tick of their garrison recovery. That's a shame. I should have probably done the war declaration before they had time for a tick, but that is what it is. Let's just assault this thing and get this over with. Sacking of Hound Duo. Salma Tielebele has led his men to glorious victory during the siege of Hound Duo. The enemy flee in disgrace, and all that is left is to decide on how to treat the residents within. Needless to say, these spoils of war are likely to cause us back in Timbuktu to admire Salma greatly, but leaving such wealth in the hands of one man could cause problems in the future. Let's loot gently. Okay, and now, one more question. Is Nguma a feasible target? I kind of would like to go for them too. So you know what? I think I have enough strength left. Let's just close out the year with one more little war declaration squeezed in there. Why not? Oligarchs are on board. Very nice. Oligarchs are going to run out of room for more approval soon. So we're going to min-max the oligarch approval on our way out the door. Perfect. Love that for me. Alright, here we go. War exhaustion is going to become a problem, but fortunately we have 5 years to calm everything down and take a chill pill. These guys may raise as I arrive, but these guys up here, I will get their land now in the deal. Alright. Okay. Houndwo quota to Timbuktu. We should be hitting regional power soon as well. I have to check my numbers in a moment. I think this next war may get us there. Imprison the leaders. What are we at now? Actually not quite. We're going to be at 24 after this, so we'll barely remain a local power after our explosive opening. Okay, over here, the provincial capital moved to the less good pile. Huangduo as the provincial capital is actually a pretty solid option in this location. I think I will move it back, to be completely honest. Let me move it back after this war, because it'll probably move it again. But Huangdo as farmland on the river, pretty good spot. Also next to Tiabo, which will probably also be a city. Alright. No funny business with the succession so far. I wouldn't mind if there was actually, and someone better showed up, but I will accept how things are at the moment. Let me give myself the tick to recover. Good. We do the assault. Easy peasy. Sacking of Nguma. Salma Tielebele has led his men to glorious victory during the siege of Nguma. The enemy flee in disgrace, and all that is left is to decide on how to treat the residents within. Needless to say, these spoils of war likely cause us back in Timbuktu to admire Salma greatly, but leaving such wealth in the hands of one man could cause problems in the future. Let's go ahead and let the looting be gentle. Okay, having done that, I'm going to go ahead and dismiss the mercenaries. See ya. And I'm going to leave the men here for now, and then I'm going to lower them once I get this territory. Should just be a couple days. I'm also going to now lower my army maintenance and lower my fort maintenance. Okay. I will be taking that, and that unifies my land over here on this side of the mountains. Nagumin quota to Timbuktu. 2 more AE, that's complete. Give a Another 2 days. There we go. That's completely fine. Alright, the Sahelian local power of Nguma accepts a peace offer. Imprison the leaders. Alright, now, after a long time of service, and with more than double their strength available after being lowered and erased, the Ghana levy can finally stand down. That's going to be an 8-month recovery? That's really quick. Whew. Oh my gosh, okay, these guys are rearing to go. I guess I'll take it. Okay, so over here, it's not the worst spot for a city, but I'm going to go ahead and just assume it'll be something else. This provincial legation, it's not necessary. We've got complete bozo activity over here, so this can actually go. This can get farm later. A lot of these tiles have city resources for some reason. Over here we have a slave estate with the cloth. That's probably fine, but I kind of would prefer a legation, so let me destroy that, actually. This fort I'm going to keep, because this will be a city, and I'm going to move the provincial capital here. I will, actually, I no longer have more territory I'll conquer. The rest of this is going to be colonization, which requires the pops. That's right. So let me just go ahead and move the capital up here now. 30 loyalty, that's fine. Wow, whoa. Okay. Now, over here, it's mostly bozo. There's a little bit of wrong culture pops. Where is it? Over here, that's basically it. So this being acquisition of wealth is probably fine. Down here, I think it's the same situation. We do have some problems, though, with Dia. Dia is really unhappy. .42 per month is not necessarily the most sustainable, but I think I can probably ride this out. What's my demotion rate? It's not demoting the noble, though. That's a problem. I may need to change this policy. I think I do, actually. Let me switch it over to treatment to get more demotion. Okay. Hopefully it demotes this tribesman quick, so I can then demote the noble. I need that noble demoted. Actually, I don't want the noble demoted. That's a bozo noble. Harsh treatment. Now that I think about it, I'm not sure harsh treatment was the right call. These are my core population here. They're just mad because... Why are they mad? Wrong religion happiness. Someone didn't localize their mod super thoroughly. Oh, they're wrong religion. That's what's going on. I mean, I guess it says it in bold, so okay. That is, I didn't really think about that, but I need to convert this place. It's right culture, but wrong religion. Okay. That's not going to fix itself with harsh treatment, so I do need to actually switch this over to... Alright, that was a slight waste of PI, but I have plenty of PI to work with, so I think we'll be okay. Alright. At this point, it's time for peace, and time for our succession here. Literally, our succession. This guy, this incoming guy, is lapsed, and so that reduces omen power. Harsh, which increases slave output and national slave output. Merciful, increases freedom and happiness and tyranny loss. That's okay, actually, for a peacetime Archon. His stats are terrible, but his traits are okay. He's trying to befriend my current wife. Interesting. Alright. Very good. And also, let's not forget, we can do some of this. 2 sets to work with here. He's released or sold. Then I'm going to do some reinvestment. I have a lot of money to work with here. I want to make sure I use it all. Oops. Okay, 22 tyranny. I'm gonna have to calm down now on the tyranny front. Fortunately, we have a high... Well, do we have a high charisma character coming in? No. Oh, yikes. Okay. Yeah, I can't do anything to really affect this right now, unfortunately. Plenty of support right now, so hopefully that doesn't change too much. Right, so that's all my slaves sold. Can I reach anybody? Oh, I can reach one grain. Oh, it's just mine grain. Ugh. I mean, no one else is wanting to buy my grain, so I guess I could buy it from myself. Does no one really want to buy my grain? I do have surplus not blocked, so maybe someone will block it. Or, I mean, maybe someone will buy it. I guess we'll see. I may have just got it also a second ago, so maybe I just need to wait for someone to be looking for it. Okay. Buildings. Do I build buildings? In Timbuktu, I think I do. Timbuktu has quite a large population. I want to promote this population up. Let's get some more research going. Speaking of which, what are we at now? 28%? Not very good. We need more than this. Alright. Feels a bit early to start min-maxing research, but never too early, honestly. Okay, library stays. Marketplace can honestly go. Although we have a lot of assimilation happening. Thanks to the... Well, not just from the marketplace, but it's definitely helping a little bit. I mean, it's not actually helping that much. I could destroy the marketplace. I think it's honestly probably fine to do this. I'm going to have limited room with my build slots. Manpower is hard to argue against. It's not providing a ton. If it is actually 2, that is helping a fair bit. But with the mercenaries around me, I think I can probably figure something out. So let us... okay, let's not go crazy here. I do have some build slots to work with. Let me go ahead and start building academies. Also, I have the oligarchy in charge, which means I do still have the build cost. I'm going to keep the build cost with this guy coming in too, so that's good to keep on top of. Okay, let's build an academy for the noble desired ratio. What are we at now? Oh, we got more room. But I need to grow it to reduce the other ratios too. Alright, let's get the academy going. And actually, let me queue up all 3. And then maybe build another library as well. Goodness. It's only going to do so much, though, is the issue. Could also get some citizen desired ratio as well. Might not be a bad idea. I have a number of citizens, too. Yeah, let me build a court of law next as well. Okay. That'll be my 7 slots. I could also destroy the training camp and squeeze in one more court. I think I will. Actually, I don't have enough money. I will have enough money, though, kind of soon. Okay, this gives us a bit of money to work with, just in case. Okay. We are investing into Timbuktu in a big way. This has been quite the opening, but I feel pretty happy with how this went. Pretty good start to this campaign. As I foretold, this has been kind of a scrappy opening with a lot of very careful planning around timing, moving around these marshes and whatnot, but Timbuktu is off to a good start, and I feel, oh, here we go, pretty happy with how this has gone. Any new trade routes? Nope. I sure hope people start to sell trade goods for me to buy them soon, because I would love to secure some trade goods. Okay. Or if this defensively breaks down, that'd be neat as well. What's our score like now? We're 24 in the world. Pretty good. Pretty good. That's a meteoric rise in 5 years for you. 4.5 years at this point, actually, but 5 years soon. We can also switch over to the Jackal as well for the extra commerce bonus on the yearly tick. And we'll be in the money in a big way. fact, I may switch over to free trade. This will make me more money. I don't need the trade routes that I'm not using right now. I should have done that earlier, but I didn't think about that. Minor mistake. It's fine. Alright, this also needs to get switched now. It's going to be painful on the loyalty, but I need to do it sooner or later. Religious conversion. Yeah, 0.30 is manageable. Barely. I need to get these guys converted. What's the rate now? That's pretty quick. Okay. Here comes trouble with our Guanois. At least he's an oligarch, so hopefully the oligarch hegemony continues a bit longer. I sure would like the noble happiness from them. And I want more nobles, too. I need them to promote. Manpower gain's pretty brisk as well. I'm pretty happy with that. Election soon? Yep. I'm aware. Alright, fortunately, this kind of weird, like, age restriction thing is not going to be a long-term problem because everyone's going to become old enough by the next election cycle. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people are going to be old enough that it's not going to be a similar problem. This guy here, for example, would be an amazing Archon. I hope this guy becomes my ruler in 6 years from now. We shall see if I get so lucky. Also, we're nearly at 50 stability. Nation's looking good. It's my assimilation looking as well. I'm getting there. Academy will finish. There we go, that's the first academy. I can trade my grain and turn in if I want to, though. Alright, very successful first episode. I'm pretty happy with how this went, and we avoided the game collapsing because of a lack of a available Archon, just barely. Fortunately, that's not going to be a recurring issue, hopefully. We'll see. Might, but probably not. Alright, 1st of January, 155. Senatorial resistance. Alright, I'm seeing 70 Senate support. I'm pretty happy with that. Our Boudreaux has proved to be a contentious candidate as Archon. Previously an outspoken critic of the government, he was spoken of with contempt during meetings of the Senate. All were surprised, therefore, when he was elected to rule Timbuktu, casting aside any notions of propriety and class. With such underwhelming popularity among the elites, it is hard to see how R will get anything done. Okay, I can either lose 10 approval from the other parties immediately, which is probably fine. Oh yeah, oligarchs are thrilled with this arrangement, and they're really, really strong right now. What was it, an appointment? Okay, let me look at that in a moment. I need to figure what that is. I'll trade the approval loss. I have enough support that this is doable. It's not worth upsetting the balance just yet. Okay, 67% Senate support, that's completely fine. The oligarch hegemony situation isn't sustainable forever, but for now, I'm willing to let them keep it. Oh boy. I don't. Can we swap these guys? All right, I'll deal with that next episode. But for now, Omen, we're going straight into the Jackal. Give me that commerce income, baby. All right, what are we at now? 3.70, nearly at 4 per month. Already 5 years in. That's pretty good. And that was also our augur that we just lost. Let's assign somebody new. In fact, let me go ahead and call this episode here and start the next episode by doing a big government reorganization to try and start to balance out my factions a little bit. As now that I'm going to have more characters to work with, I can spend a lot more time, and I'll be in peacetime for hopefully much of the next 5 years, getting myself set up for a good next Archon for another cycle of war and expansion. So that's going to be it for this first episode of the Timbuktu campaign. Thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments what you think about this new campaign, what you're excited to see this sub-Saharan African sleeping giant waking up under my guidance get up to next. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.